on our screens. We can see Ivan Lendl with a bunch of towels and energy drinks, having a final few words with Andy Murray, who's putting his sweatbands on, and his opponent Roberto Bautista Agut is actually already in the tunnel. We're going to be keeping across the Rod Laver Arena. Djokovic with this 9-1 head-to-head lead over Grigor Dimitrov, who hasn't beaten him since 2013, but has the playing field been slightly levelled because of the hamstring trouble that Novak Djokovic is suffering. We will follow that, we will keep an eye on that, we will bring you all the big points. But Margaret Court Arena now awaits the arrival of the players as Andy Murray, bags on his shoulder, makes his way, makes the short walk to the corridor where a man he knows very well, Roberto Bautista Agut of Spain, awaits. A 7th meeting between the two. They've split the meetings 3 apiece, but the Spaniard has won the last 3. And he waits now, Roberto Bautista Agut, doing some shadow swinging off the forehand side as Andy Murray is led down, and he will be the first player introduced out onto court, being the lower ranked of the two. Murray, 5-time finalist, but sitting at 66 in the world. So listen out for the heartbeat. That is the countdown on the Margaret Court Arena to signal the start of the night session and the arrival of the players. It's wonderful to have your company here on Sports Extra, through with you to the conclusion of this match. Can he do it again? Can he go around further? I'm sure we'll talk a lot more, but we remember 2019, the press conference of Andy Murray before the tournament started, the tears, the despondency, the despair as to physically how he could go on. And here he is in 2023. The crowd are now seeing pictures of the players just being held outside the court. Not every seat is taken at this stage. Where are we? We are 7 o'clock in the evening local time. We have just gone past 8 o'clock in the morning, and an intriguing encounter awaits. We are looking to complete the round of 16 lineup of the Australian Open. And Annabelle, these are the final few moments as the ball girls and boys take their places on the Margaret Court Arena.
Yeah, it's a sort of a tense moment, isn't it? And those scenes that we can see behind the scenes as well. But I was keeping a close eye on how Andy was walking, actually, and it didn't look too bad. I mean, he had some pretty heavy bags and the racket bag on his back. I mean, he looked a little stiff, but I guess we'll find out very early on in the early stages of this match, won't we? If Bautista Agut is able to make him run and have some physical rallies, then we'll really know where he's at. He's going to get great reception here.
And here he is with that reception, waving his racket in his right hand to the crowd. Serious look on the face, head bowed as he makes his way to his bench and starts to get himself set for this third round match. And what a warrior this man is. We talk about the qualities of Andy Murray, but how about Roberto Bautista Agut? He knows, a little bit like 2019, that I don't like to call him the villain of the piece because he's such a nice man, but it might be a little bit how he comes across today, Annabelle, because this crowd, they want this fairy tale, they want the Murray story to continue, and it's going to be tough.
Oh, it's going to be very, very tough, but I think he's the sort of character that can cope with it. I mean, he coped with it before in 2019, and I thought he was unbelievably mentally strong. The way that, there was hardly anybody cheering for him when he took on Andy Murray, and eventually won through in 5 sets. In fact, I think he took a 2 sets to love lead and then got pegged back and then had to fight again to sort of re-find his form when the crowd were going absolutely nuts for Andy Murray. And he showed incredible strength of character in that particular occasion, and also at Davis Cup, didn't he, when he had all sorts of personal issues off court with his parents were ill, and I think his father just died, I think, and then I forget, it was either his father or his mother, and he had to sort of cope with all of that and came back to the team and ended up winning a really, really decisive rubber. So he has shown great strength of character, but he's sort of very inwardly facing, isn't he? He's not a real sort of all frills attached kind of guy.
So while we go through the housekeeping here on the Margaret Court Arena, let's find out how things are looking with another big match taking place, being watched by David Law on the Rod Laver Arena.
Yeah, what an incredible night of action we have before us on 2 courts, with Andy Murray against Roberto Bautista Agut, and here on the Rod Laver Arena it is filling up. The place has been full of music and people out in the public areas. It's been a real party feel, and they're waiting for the arrival here of the great Novak Djokovic, 9 times a champion, up against Grigor Dimitrov, who's had some of the best results of his career here at the Australian Open as well. I'll never forget the semi-final that he played against Rafael Nadal a few years ago, and he really had Nadal on the hook at one point, and eventually Nadal managed to get through. He'll need that sort of level of performance, I would imagine, if he's going to stand a chance of knocking out Novak Djokovic, who has beaten him in 9 of their 10 previous matches. However, there is a big question mark over Djokovic's fitness as we watch him backstage on our monitor here. He puts the bag on his shoulders, as does Grigor Dimitrov. There is heavy strapping around the back of the leg of Novak Djokovic. He's had his thigh strapped throughout this tournament, but there's an extra little bit of taping on the back of that hamstring right at the moment. As he turns his back to us, we just see him walk out, and he's walking towards the court with Grigor Dimitrov leading the way through the Walk of Champions, which is lined with the names of the singles champions of this tournament: Chris Evert and Vitas Gerulaitis and Steffi Graf and Mary Pierce, Mats Wilander, Martina Hingis. It's just a who's who of the greats of the game. Justine Henin, Boris Becker, Maria Sharapova, Kim Clijsters. It's an incredible sight for these players to be walking down this tunnel, and Grigor Dimitrov in a moment is going to walk past the name of Novak Djokovic and the 9 years that are lined up next to his name in which he has taken this title. The heartbeat goes around this Rod Laver Arena, which is filling up, and Grigor Dimitrov is ready to come out.
Round action on Rod Laver Arena. Please welcome from Bulgaria, Grigor Dimitrov.
Very, very warm reception for Grigor Dimitrov. He's a great watch, he's a great guy, and he's very, very popular in Australia. They remember that semi-final he played against Rafael Nadal.
Australian Open 4th seed, Novak Djokovic.
Pretty warm for Novak Djokovic as well, isn't it? And he raises his hand. He was very stressed and anxious in the previous round, a match he ended up winning in 4 sets. Let's see which Novak Djokovic we're going to get today. But first of all, let's get back to watch Andy Murray against Roberto Bautista with Shishi Salmon.
David, thank you very much. We'll be keeping across both matches our focus here on the Margaret Court Arena, and we welcome listeners via BBC Sounds. It is the beauty of radio. It doesn't matter what your plans are for the day ahead. You will not miss a ball. Have your radio with you. However you found us, if it is through BBC Sounds, welcome to Tennis Breakfast. We serve up your daily dose of Australian Open action every day of the championships, and I'm very happy to say that joining us today, he's got a dual role. I would say 80% Murray, 20% Djokovic. Grand Slam winner on multiple occasions across the doubles and mixed doubles, Mark Woodford.
Hello, Gigi. What an introduction. Thank you.
How are you?
I'm fine. Actually, this is something new for me tonight, is because we have a monitor, so we can actually really see each other. You and Annabelle. I've got it on the screen.
Yes, g'day.
Lovely to see you both, and what a huge night. I've been listening into the breakfast show and the introductions, and there is so much anticipation, not only here on RLA, but of course over at MCA, to see whether Andy Murray can, well, beat a fellow veteran.
What's your gut feeling on this, Woody? Because we were talking about this with Chris Clarion through. Yes, there's recovery, and how has he been able to recover after nearly 10 hours on court? And it's warm, it's what, 69 degrees Fahrenheit, 21 degrees Celsius. But the first 2 rounds, big servers, big hitters, big strikers of the ball. In the Spaniard today, someone that can wear you down with his consistency. If there's anything hurting with Andy Murray, Roberto Bautista Agut will exploit it.
Exactly. I even get tired trying to pronounce Roberto Bautista Agut. I mean, imagine what it's like on the court against him. You described it so aptly, that he keeps the point elongated. He lays those traps, and you have to work extremely hard. More importantly, you have to go out and beat him. And when you look back at the head-to-head record, the last 3 matches of course, well, I shouldn't say of course, have unfortunately gone to Bautista, and that's without Andy Murray having played 4-hour-plus matches in the 2 previous rounds. So look, the silver lining maybe in this is that Bautista has played a lot of tennis already in the summer, not just here, but in Adelaide. You know, there might be some fatigue up the other end as well.
Yeah, let's just clarify, that's the Australian summer, because it was -2 when Annabelle and I came into work. It's very much the winter here, Mark Woodford.
I guess I'm going to be experiencing that next week as well when I come over to Europe for Davis Cup matches. But anyway, for the moment, I'm going to bask in the sunshine. It is hot here today. The crowds have been sensational. The Garden Square around at Corporate Oval as well has been absolutely smashing. You know, the Australian Open is alive again.
So here we go, the players are ready, the stage is set. Welcome those of you listening via BBC Sounds. There are many ways to find us, that is one of them. You'll find both matches. BBC Sounds, Andy Murray gets himself ready, the Spaniard to serve.
Bautista, Agut to serve.
Murray chose the end, a little breeze is blowing. The pale green shirt of Roberto Bautista Agut with the collar and the white shorts, and he serves out wide. This the 7th beating between the two. The slice cross court from Murray inside the baseline, inside, and Murray is pushed a long way back. The error is drawn and the Spaniard is on the board.
Yeah, I get the impression that Bautista Agut is going to try and move Murray around as much as he can, and he knows that the real problem, I don't know how Mark feels about this, is that it is probably more often than not into that forehand corner, and then to get back out of that corner.
15 love, backhand double-hander from Bautista Agut, and Woody, he finds the corner of the court. Andy Murray gets his first point on the board.
You just have to press the on button and hopefully that Andy finds that on button as well. Nice to get on the board in this first game.
15 all. Into the net goes Roberto Bautista Agut.
I wonder whether Murray is just going to come out here and try and play short, sharp points. You know, will the tactics be, you know, to win the points as quickly as he can? Because he certainly doesn't want to get embroiled into long physical points with Bautista Agut.
He took that serve early, but the point continues. The backhand slice from Bautista Agut, who spins around and goes inside in with the forehand. He's such a patient player, Roberto Bautista Agut.
The walk of Andy Murray has slightly changed, hasn't he? I call it the Max Wall walk, so I don't even know if Mark Woodford knows who Max Wall is, but people here in the UK might remember him, but it's when he sort of slightly juts out, you know, leans forward with his body and juts out at the back, and then the legs look rather stiff, and he's just looking a little stiff at the moment, as you would expect.
First serve from Bautista Agut. Turns himself around. Murray with the white baseball cap on, facing the right way round. He's got the white top with the green teal coloured stripe diagonally across it, and then the teal shorts, and the backhand cross court. Didn't catch that right, Bautista Agut, but finds the court. He's going into the backhand of Murray. It's backhand to backhand cross court. The slice is netted from Murray. Game points to the 24th seed. Has been as high as 9 in the world back in 2019. He's had a good start to this year, the Spaniard, runner-up in the second of the Adelaide tournaments. Judy Murray, coach Ivan Lendl watching on from the box. Too deep off the return. That floats long. And it is Roberto Bautista Agut that gets on the board. You're getting in touch with us, and we love the fact you're getting in touch with us at 5 Live Sport. Kev says there's been a lot of talk about Murray's heroics, and rightly so. However, there is another huge factor in his improvement, and that is Ivan Lendl. And Woody, if we think back, it was Andy Murray who said there were a lot of coaches that kind of didn't want to go near, didn't want to touch Murray after everything he had been through, but Lendl continued to have faith in him.
Wow, that's news to me. I'd be surprised. They couldn't have been good coaches then if they didn't want to work with you know, great champions like Andy Murray. But you know, Ivan Lendl, I saw him in Adelaide. I called the first match that Andy played against Sebi Korda, and even though he ended up losing, I felt like that the way that Lendl in their previous partnership, it was about going for the serve more. It was about going for the forehand. And I saw signs of that, even though he came in second place against Sebi Corner, which, you know, right now is looking like that was a pretty good a good loss. But that's what he needs to utilise today, is the first serve and the forehand. Try to keep the point short. I just, you know, grave doubts whether he can, you know, out-duel RBA from the baseline.
Yeah, I agree with you, Woody, and just seeing that second serve just going to the bottom of the net, and then he sort of like walked rather gingerly back to get some more balls, and it's going to take his body a little while to get warmed up, isn't it?
Definitely, and that's the beauty of a 5-set format, is you know, you don't have to be firing as much as we all want to when the umpire says play, get out of the gates fast, but he can take some time to warm up into this match.
A lovely point there from Roberto Bautista, who played the off forehand to push Murray deep. He drew the short ball, then he volleyed away into the open court off the backhand side. Yeah,
really smart tactics from him, because already he's pushing the ball all around at the back of the court into the corners and very fast up the court. And as I said before, he's got the most wonderful light footwork. Could have been a pro footballer. And, you know, really gets that footwork around the ball, but he's really quick coming forward as well.
Love 30 to the Spaniard in the first service game of Andy Murray in this third round match, taking place in the Margaret Court Arena. The serve down the tee, back through the middle. Murray with the off forehand onto the line. The backhand cross court. He's got the Spaniard out of court, so he goes up the line with the backhand Murray. Murray then plays a short mid-court forehand. Cross court goes Bautista Agut. Cross court on the service line goes Murray. He'll spin round and go inside in, but he misses. He drags the forehand into the tram lines, and it's love 40.
Yeah, I hope, ladies, and for everyone that's listening as well in this match, I think we should just be prepared for Andy not to be ultra competitive in this first set. I think it's going to just take a while for the tension and the tiredness to ease out of those veins.
Love 40, serve, first serve into the net.
I think the matchup, particularly when he's had the 10 hours on court already, up against someone who's such a clean ball striker, the ability to sort of play physical rallies, move Andy Murray around, you know, mentally very, very strong as well.
The chop shot slice mid-court, Murray in on the cross-court backhand. The pass from the Spaniard is a peach, and he breaks Andy Murray to love and leads by 2 games to love. But Woody, I think that's really important, sort of almost putting that warning out to people listening, because there might already be people a few minutes in thinking, well, I'm not going to listen to this is rubbish, we knew this was going to happen. But as you highlighted there, look, maybe give him a set to let his body get moving. And this is a 5-set format.
Exactly. You can't win the match in the first set, and you know, it's just trying to build piece by piece. He's just got to allow the tiredness. He's just got to learn to live with it. It certainly is tough going at the moment. It's just the slowness that is there, but his body has to be screaming, I would think.
Well, another point for the Spaniard. Meanwhile, early opportunities, David, on the Rod Laver Arena.
For Novak Djokovic, who's got 2 break points here, and he's taken it. The first opportunity, backhand slice has drifted long from Grigor Dimitrov, and that's the worst possible start for him. Djokovic looks all right to me at the moment.
Thank you very much, David. Keeping across both the Rod Laver Arena and here on the Margaret Court Arena, where Roberto Bautista, a good 34 years of age now, his 4th winner of the match, and he moves 2 love, 30 love. Looking to consolidate the early break of serve, making his 11th Australian Open appearance, and looking for his 5th Australian Open round of 16 as he aces out wide for game points.
Yeah, he's a really neat, tidy player. Everything about what Bautista Agut does on the court, it just looks very balanced. All the techniques look absolutely perfect. He always looks like he has plenty of time on the ball, and even the serve, it's pretty effective. It's neat and tidy. That last serve delivery was a really acute angle out wide.
Murray takes that really early off the second serve, the squash shot cross court from Bautista. Murray's in control, he comes forward, but he's passed. Another beauty from the Spaniard. He consolidates and he leads by a very straightforward 3 games to love with 8 minutes played. If you're listening to us via BBC Sounds, great to have your company. We really want to know what you're doing, where you're listening, and could you get distracted at 5 Live Sport. Tom says the usual Saturday morning clubs are in full flow. Gosh, know these well. Starting with swimming at 7:45. Hang on, that's an early swimming class. Made far easier by having Murray to tune into. Come on, Andy. And David says marshalling at the local park run, that's in Halston, while listening to Murray. Hopefully I won't get too animated doing so and misdirect the runners. I love a good park run. Have you ever done that, Annabelle, the park run?
I did used to do those sort of things a long time ago.
Brilliant
now I tend to
park run.
just run with some mates locally, but my son went and did a park run the other day and he said it was fantastic, and it kind of inspired me to think, I need to get back to that. That's really fun.
They're really good because they can be social. You don't have to do a speed thing, you can chat with, but it's just nice
exactly,
to...
just good social scene.
Yeah, but David, don't misdirect people, because when you're planning for that distance, if you suddenly send them off on a wild goose chase,
Not good.
they're not going to be happy, are they? Murray trying to get the legs moving as he runs to the back of the court. Trying to get some energy.
Yeah, he is, and I just saw a replay of that last point, and there was a grimace on his face when he went to hit a backhand and come forward, and then of course he got past to end that last game, but just on the replay you could see the grimace as he was trying to force his body forward. So I think, as Mark Woodford was saying, that he's really, there's a lot of pain in that body right now, as you would expect. I mean, anyone who knows anything about, doing really physical exercise, but he's done 10 hours, and the emotion that's gone in behind that as well.
Roberto Bautista, good, hits the backhand. He also won 5 sets and came from 2 sets down in his last round, but he had a straightforward first round match. Backhand to backhand, cross court they go. It's the 4th game of the first set. It's a clean sweep so far, the first 3 games for the Spaniard, and they continue to go backhand to backhand. Who changes it up? Who makes the break? It's the slice now from Roberto Bautista. Good double hander, it changed it up enough, and it's into the net from Murray.
Well, he almost looks exhausted already, doesn't he, after missing that one? And that's not the kind of rally that he wants to be playing. 20-shot rally, that one, and it's just smart tennis from Bautista Agut. He's quite happy to hang out there and make it physical. Maybe try and...
He certainly is, and I was only chuckling because the way he responded, Andy, after missing the backhand. But in one sense, for the moment, in order for his body to wake up, he might need a couple of these longer rallies, Annabelle, as well.
Yeah, well,
it could help.
Might get the blood going and get it into the muscles and start to kind of loosen them up. I mean, I can't imagine what work they've done on his body just to try and get him out on court again. He just looks fatigued.
And he's getting no lift off that serve.
No, he isn't. The legs at the moment look like 2 lead weights, don't they?
It's the rotation. Don't you think that... where he throws the ball up and it's a half rotation on the hips, but it just, that's where it would be. I'm just trying to think back at the times on the court myself, and it is really agony. It can't be overly pleasant, but he has the heart, he has the knowledge, the experience, and he will hang in here.
Yeah, he certainly will. He's at love 30, though. That's a miss hit, but it lands in for Roberto Bautista. Good. The Spaniard scoops up the backhand. Backhand up the line, but it drops short from Murray. Murray slaps that forehand cross-court. Squash shot from Roberto Bautista. Good. Drags Murray in, who goes drop shot. Oh, that was a delight. Great feel on that drop shot from Murray.
Well, a couple of those ground strokes were like wrecking balls coming through the court, and he was really putting extra injection of pace behind a couple of those... a forehand cross-court, and then the backhand as well. And then finishing with a lovely little slice, dinky shot. So just changing things up here.
12 minutes played. He's on the board, Murray, in the 4th game. Does he twist the racket in the right hand, looks across, looks down, resets himself, slightly distracted. Ready now at love 3 and 15-30. Into the net, off the serve.
It's the way he's pulling up after points have finished is where you know that he's suffering. Just his whole reaction after winning a point, you can just see that there's just pain running through both legs. They look very heavy. He has to kind of reset himself and get ready for the next point. But I think the whole thing at the moment is quite an effort, isn't it?
It does look like it. 30 all. Murray playing in his 251st Grand Slam match. Just a step back off the returner service. Murray, you can hear as he strikes that ball, plays the slice on the backhand. Inside in goes Roberto Bautista. Good. The Spaniard has pushed Murray so far back. The Spaniard's keeping his place on the baseline. Oh, he was dictating play, but he nets off the backhand and it's game point.
Didn't miss by much. It was a healthy strike by the Spaniard. Backhand up the line. But some relief for Murray, no doubt. Just to get onto the board, just to get that feeling, yes, I'm competitive in this match.
Yeah, and he's certainly got the crowd behind him, hasn't he? You could hear the huge roar after winning that last point.
It'll be even louder if he can close out this point in this game. Murray serves, but nets just collapsing into that first serve. The other thing from Roberto Bautista, you don't get any emotion. He's just the same from start to finish.
Well, that's why I think he's the right character for anyone to try and take on Murray. And as Mark's already told us, he's had a great record against him the last 3 times they've played. But, you know, he's not going to be fazed by taking on such a strong character down the other end.
And Woody, the pain there, as Murray went drop shot, brought the Spaniard in, went for the lob, it wasn't high enough, the Spaniard gets it, he nets, and then the grimace on the face of Murray.
Yeah, I'm just trying to see that replay of the point, and the ball came onto him very quickly, so it's those, maybe for the moment, those sharp moves that one would need to be making if you're trying to react or even move forward, and that's where just those nerve endings are saying, not just yet.
And the words he repeated, we will not be repeating, as he plays the 1-2 punch, coming in, taking it early off the returner serve, and it's game point.
Well, I saw Bautista in Adelaide too. He made the final and started the favourite against Kwon. They played a lengthy match. Kwon ended up winning 7-6 in the third, but during the presentation of the trophies, I was congratulating Kwon and commiserating with Bautista. I don't think I've ever seen Roberto Bautista Agut so fatigued. He was absolutely spent. He gave everything in that final.
I think you'd put your house normally on Murray reaching that out wide.
Yeah,
the low volley.
Tough. And we're just getting a look at Ivan Lendl in the stands. He's his usual customary sort of no face expression changes, keeping a stern look on proceedings
much
out
like
here.
Bautista.
Exactly.
doesn't have much reaction, which probably just to finish that little story up, was Bautista just was so focused even during the presentation ceremony. He didn't want to give away much, but he just was so spent. But the ultimate professional, and we know when you've got great attitudes on the court, you go a long way in this sport.
And the one time we saw emotion, was it the semi-final when his son Roberto ran onto the court and stole the show, and you saw a big smile from his dad?
Yeah, that was sweet.
Confident little fella.
Yeah,
Trotted
he was
onto the
sweet,
court.
adorable.
Then he ran, he said, I'm going now, Dad. Off he went. He's only, what, a couple of years old, born September 2020. Mine would have run amok if I let them loose on a tennis court. He was very disciplined. Game point, Murray. You'll hear the roar if he gets this. Roberto Bautista Agut takes it early into the body of Murray, digs out the backhand up the line from the Spaniard. Spaniard now with the double-handed backhand, places that to the middle of the court. You can hear Murray every time the effort as he strikes that ball. It's so early on to be hearing noises like this, but it's long from Roberto Bautista Agut, and there's a fist bump and another one and a third from Murray because he is on the board. 3-1 the Spaniard leads.
Yeah, and it looked like he was looking up to the crowds and trying to get extra assistance from them. I think he really wants to get them to get on top of his opponent to see if that can make any difference out here and give him extra energy, but he's certainly calling for more from the crowd.
Yeah, they've been privy to seeing this great champion reach the final on numerous occasions, and even though he didn't walk away with the trophy, has been well supported here in Australia at the AO, and I think that he has a high proportion of the crowd behind him in this match.
So much admiration for what he's done and what he continues to do. I mean, how on earth is he still out there performing like this, Woody?
Well, I think that such is the respect that he has been given here in Melbourne and at all of the Grand Slams, but here in particular with the numerous runs to the finals and then well, it was an early farewell from a couple of seasons ago when they had all of these video messages and fated him on the court, but he's back here playing again, and a lot of the media have been focused on Andy's amazing efforts in the first 2 rounds, and a lot of eyes will be on this match. Ooh, have a look at that paint job.
That is extraordinary. I don't think we'll be putting that sort of paint on our faces. I don't think. Seeing a look
They're
at
warriors, those three.
Really,
that's
really are.
that's what Andy needs
Braveheart.
to take on.
Braveheart face paint. 3 of them sitting next to each other. Wow.
That's going to take a while. They're probably not thinking about how to get it off, because I think that's going to take a while. 15-all, the backhand cross court from the Spaniard who slices. You had his racket hit the court surface. Drop shot from Murray. In comes Roberto Bautista. Agut, and he gets there. Such composure to play it back into court for the winner.
Murray's not happy about that, chuntering away to himself. He doesn't like to come off second best in a rally like that, where he's hit a beautiful drop shot, but wonderful skills from Bautista Agut, not just to get there. And you can see the takeoff, the determination on his face, and then just lovely sort of hand skills, opening up the racket face to put that one cross court.
Little opening. Bautista Agut, who extends that opening to gain points, looking for 4-1 in this first set.
He was down love 15 in this service game, Bautista Agut, but he's so calm. Now Murray's just come across to sort of indicate he thinks that ball was out. But Bautista is just very calmly going about his business. I actually think he has the slowest walk of any player on the tour in between points, Bautista Agut. He does these sort of tippy toes, and it's sort of almost like he's secretly walking around so that no one can hear him. Now I've told you that, you're going to see it yourself.
We're just going to keep watching it now. Game points. The off forehand from Bautista Agut. He plays another off forehand again. Murray is pushed so far back. Bautista Agut is inside the baseline. Oh, but Murray goes back behind for the winner to keep the game alive.
Well, paid the price, Bautista Agut, with his attempted off forehand, but he lost the weight of shot. Just was sitting there nicely in the strike zone for Murray, who took care of it.
Just got a slither of the line, Murray. Spaniard down the tee, snap back through the middle, inside the baseline. That's a deep forehand for Roberto Bautista Agut. Murray does not find the court. So he runs and it turns into a jog, and then it turns into a plod as he walks back to his bench. Confirmation there from Nico Helworth, 4-1. Roberto Bautista Agut with the break. So we will check in now in the Rod Laver Arena and find out how Grigor Dimitrov, Novak Djokovic is coming along with David Law.
Well, it's just starting to get interesting now, Gigi, because the rapturous ovation you can hear is for a whipped forehand cross-court winner by Grigor Dimitrov. And to be honest, he started pretty slowly out here. He was 2-love down, he was break points down again for a double break, managed to fend them off. And we saw just a couple of little errors from Djokovic, which sort of stopped him in his tracks. So Dimitrov held to get his first game of the board. He's 2-1 behind, but he's love 15 up on the Djokovic serve, I should say. Djokovic just in front of me right here. He's only about 20 feet in front of me, ground level, so I'm getting a good look at that hamstring. So I'm just going to watch his movement very closely for the next couple of games. In that particular point, he's just hit a forehand away. I haven't seen any of the sort of hopping that we saw in the previous round, or anything that makes you feel like his movement is actually impeded. I'm sure it's uncomfortable, I'm sure it hurts at times, you know, and he's got it heavily strapped, but in terms of actual movement, it looks pretty normal at the moment. 2-1, 15-all Djokovic.
Thank you very much, David. And Woody, on your way into the commentary box, what are the conditions like out there for the players this evening?
Warm, beautiful conditions for the players, but it has been a very hot day, and with the amount of people that are on the grounds, you can imagine a little bit of humidity. Also, we just follow on from David's comments. Sitting here, I have that bird's eye view as well. Djokovic, in his practice, he came out in between the sessions, and his left leg wasn't taped up. He actually played probably maybe 15, 20 minutes, but there was no taping around that left hamstring.
We have eyes and ears everywhere.
Everywhere.
Everywhere. Currently focused on the Margaret Court Arena as Murray at 1-4 inside the baseline gets the short ball, goes inside out, he comes forward off it, goes to the pass, the half volley from Murray, sits up nicely for the Spaniard to put away for the winner.
That's about the third time that Murray has been in control of a particular point and pushed Bautista Agut into a defensive position, but the Spaniard has come up winning the point, and Murray not happy about that.
He's just so economical with his movement, with the energy that he gives, the awareness on each particular point, the level of importance, and it's no wonder that he's had a decorated career, Bautista Agut.
Love 15, 23 minutes played, 7:35 in the evening local time, 8:35 in the morning here in the UK, as the off forehand is played by Roberto Bautista Agut, who then slams that forehand cross court. Cross court, the forehand goes Murray. Murray redirects down the line, but he nets. He leans forward. He still doesn't look comfortable. He mutters to himself, and he's love 30.
Yeah, that looked like a painful forehand, didn't it? He really didn't, or wasn't able to use his legs the way that he wants to. I mean, they just look heavy and stiff. He wasn't in the right position. He pulled off it, the right hip came across, and he really pulled right across with the swing as well. And then he kind of held his right hip after missing that ball, and he looked in pain. It's kind of painful viewing this, isn't it?
Yeah, it certainly is. Love 30 gets mid-court return, swings the backhand cross-court. Murray keeps on the forehand side, plays the off forehand. Now he plays a double slice backhand up the line. The forehand down the line into the net from the Spaniard.
Annabelle, remember the transition from clay courts at the end of 6-7 weeks on clay at the end of Roland Garros, and we moved on to the grass court tournaments, and those first few days on grass when you're told to get down nice and low to have the ball come through, and your back, your hammies, your butts, everything hurt in your lower half of your body. And I feel like this is what's going on with Andy. The legs are just feeling a little rubbery, but you know that you've got to go through it in order to get the benefits later on.
Yeah, that's absolutely spot on. Yeah, and I think Andy uses his legs so incredibly well when he plays tennis. You know, he's so balanced. He really bends the knees a lot and gets down low, uses the thighs and sort of stays low through the strike zone. But today it's just painful at all of it. It's another double fault.
Break points for Bautista. Good. I can't relate on an athlete's level, Woody, but Annabelle's been taking me on 2.5 walks every day, and it has been quite tough to get up in the morning to get the bones moving.
2.5 hour walks.
Yeah, 2.5 hour walks. Everything seasonal.
In freezing cold weather.
Freezing cold. We're walking like Andy Murray at the end of our walks.
Yeah, we are.
Honestly.
Yeah, we have to negotiate the ice as well.
Ace from Murray, first break point save.
Well, that was a much better serve delivery from Murray. First time he's really gone after a big booming first serve, and it's hit the mark. And I've noticed just a few of his serves have been a little bit shorter today, both first and second, but that was a good one.
Good serve out wide from Murray. He picks it up, doesn't let the ball drop, volleys it down, lob is up from the Spaniard. Oh, and that was just too much work for Murray to have to do to get back and in position. Great play from the 24th seed, who leads now with a double break and by 5 games to 1.
5 games to 1.
Crowd will continue to show their support. I've seen loads of Scottish saltires, not just painted on the faces of people, but being waved. We've got the wigs, we've got banners, we've got posters. But at the moment, it is a tough watch. It is tough on Andy Murray. And Roberto Bautista Agut just doing what he does, and now in a position to serve for the set at 5-1.
Let's
27 minutes on the match clock. Murray standing back by the Melbourne sign behind the court. Roberto Bautista Agut reaches up now, serves out wide. Lovely placement on the serve.
Absolutely, so smart tactically, knowing how difficult it's going to be for Murray to really get out there wide on that deuce side, and he's getting that really acute angle, and he's very precise with that serve. Murray was left flailing a bit at that one.
Mixing it up, serving down the tee but missing.
It's one thing to have the sort of tactics that you want to be able to bring into play, but it's quite another to be able to execute it. And you feel as if Bautista Agut has all of that ability.
Forehand spun up the line from Murray. Murray with the slice, floats it, sits up inside in from Bautista Agut, netted from Murray. 2 points now from the set, the Spaniard.
Yeah, and, I mean, the tactics of RBA probably behind that first serve, I would think would be wide on both courts, actually, to try and push Andy, just spread him from corner to corner.
So down the tee, the backhand's in play. The backhand swung cross-court double hand from the Spaniard, netted in, just not getting any bend or any lift on the ball. And it's triple set point.
It's almost as if he's sort of, this set is done, really, isn't it? And to reset on set number 2, but I don't think he wants to expend too much extra energy at the end of this set trying to battle back from 5-1 down. I'm not sure that would be the right tactic for Murray right now.
Set point, the first of 3. The forehand slapped into the net rather half-heartedly. And the set was won. Roberto Bautista Agut really didn't break a sweat, and just coming up to half an hour on the match clock as Roberto Bautista Agut will go for the sweat change, because Mark Woodford spoke about the humidity. But very comfortable Mark Woodford in the end for the 24th seed with a 6-1 double break first set.
Yep, and as look, the scoreline, it doesn't really. I don't think the outcome of this match, it could change, and I almost felt like the first set was something that Andy had to give over to Bautista, just to see how his body, whether that adrenaline could start kicking in, whether he could get the blood flowing, and look, he's turned up. And he's out there. I think it's just a matter of waiting for his body to perhaps give him an opportunity. Bautista doing everything as he should. You almost say that it's not kind for Bautista, but he is here to win the match, and he is making Andy move from corner to corner.
He certainly is, and we knew that is what he would do. But as Mark said, plenty of time for it to change. Let me just give you a couple of updates on scores before we shuffle things around in the commentary positions. Laura Sigemund is got set points 5-1 on Caroline Garcia. Garcia, the fourth, been in phenomenal form. Wow, what a first set that might turn out to be from the German. She just lost the first set point, but 5-1, 40-30. And Ben Shelton, who used his passport for the very first time to fly to Australia, is 5-2 up on the Australian wildcard Alexi Popperin. So the second set about to begin. We're going to change things around. David Law will be in the hot seat with Mark Woodford and Annabel Croft, and I'll keep a close eye on Novak Djokovic, the left leg, and everything else that's going on at Melbourne Park.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Gigi. So, what can Andy Murray do about this? Mark Woodford called it in the first game. Don't expect Andy Murray to be super competitive in this first set, he said, as he tries to get used to this and limber up a little bit and get some of those 5 hours and 45 minutes out of his system from a couple of days ago. And it's a big ask, but we'll find out a little bit more about the recovery process from Mark in a second, and also just generally about how Andy Murray is looking. I don't know about you, he looks to me like he's sort of arming the serve over. It doesn't look as though he's able to launch his entire torso into the serve the way he normally does.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's those legs just are so fatigued. They're not elevating him up, and as an athlete you start to compensate in different areas, and so yes, I feel like he is using his arm a whole lot more than what probably he would normally. And also, let's make it clear, this was going to be a tough match, even if Andy was at complete fitness and didn't have those elongated matches. This was always going to be the toughest match, and just losing his
he looks like
balance.
He's almost cramping in his legs, and they're just giving way as he tries to set himself.
Yeah.
This is just a tough watch. I mean, I'm not super surprised. Do you expect, based on your experience, you've been a pro for all those years, if you follow up a couple of matches like this, of length like that, if let's say Andy Murray's not injured right now, but that there's just an accumulation of everything that he's gone through and all these timings as he serves again, and he's just sort of rolling his arm over, moves to 30-15 as the return goes long. Do you expect this to wear off, or from what you're seeing, I mean, obviously we don't know whether he's injured, but what do you think?
I think that's the idea of why he's out here on the court is, you know, to test if there is a possibility that the fatigue will subside. And that's what massaging is about, right, Annabelle? You know, to try to get all of the gunk that is accumulated in you, whether it's your shoulder, your legs, your back. And I think this is just the process. Whether it turns around, I think that's to be played out.
Yeah, well, adrenaline is a great thing, isn't it? And goodness me, does he need some adrenaline right now? He serves down the centre. He's almost falling over as he hits that serve. Here's Andy Murray. Lost the first set 6-1 against Bautista, and the last 6 sets between these two do not make good reading for Andy Murray. He's lost them 6-2, 6-love, 6-1, 6-3, 6-2 and 6-1.
Ouch.
Here's his backhand down the line, Bautista, and now he hits his forehand on the run. Forehand on the line is better struck by Andy Murray off the back of his line, but he can barely get his feet to the ball. He drop shot winners, Annabelle, but I mean, I don't know how he's even getting excited about the winner. He's shaking his racket, he's celebrating, but the bloke can hardly move.
No, he can't. I mean, it's painful viewing, as you said, but you know, I think he was helped in that opening service game by some much better first serves, and you know, he's going to try and put the hammer down and keep the points as short as he possibly can. But you're right, even taking off for anything short or even moving around this court is just an effort, and I feel as if you know, the longer it goes on, I just can't see how there's going to be energy that comes back into those legs. I just think it's one of those days that, you know, he's woken up. It's a couple of days after absolute epic. He hasn't had that much time to recover. And even though his opponent actually had a really tough tussle in the previous match as well, just Bautista, it wasn't sort of almost 6 hours on the court for Bautista Agut, and he just looks way fresher. But he's certainly got the crowd here, and they might just give him a real lift.
Yeah.
Those new
Well,
crowds
he
can
certainly
really impact, can't they?
In those last 2 or 3 sets the other night, I mean, he was playing some of the best tennis we've seen him play in about 5 years. As the adrenaline started to flow, I mean, he needs a shot of it. He needs adrenaline to start flowing through that body, and he needs his legs to stop hurting, I suppose, in quite the way they are at the moment, as he's 15 love behind here, Andy Murray.
And it doesn't help that he's playing somebody who literally annihilated him, you know, the last few times they've played. I mean, they met in Basel last year. Well, that was 3-2. Doha, love and 1. I don't know what happened in that match. And then, of course, that match that we've talked about, 2019, here at the Australian Open, 6-2 in the 5th. So he's not somebody who's just going to bow down to Andy Murray.
No, and he's not going to be bothered by Murray either. He's not going to get rattled. He's 34 years of age. He's been out here forever. He's just a human metronome, is Roberto Bautista. He hardly ever misses, and I thought he'd missed that forehand on the line, but apparently he caught the outside edge of it, and then he hits the backhand winner down the line.
Well measured.
Oh, Murray's grimacing as he's walking back to his position here. It's like every step is hurting.
He's rubbing each spot on his body as well, just trying to nurse.
Walking massage.
Yeah.
Dear, oh dear, this is a tough watch, to be honest, at the moment. Murray chips his back in return. It lands in. 30 love behind. Huge forehand winner by Bautista Agut. Murray's laboured. I mean, we talk about whether Novak Djokovic might be labouring to the ball once in a while. He looks way better in terms of movement than Andy Murray does at the moment.
Yes, I agree with that. I mean, I've got a monitor in my studio here, and Djokovic is looking actually pretty sharp. But, yeah, Murray in way worse shape than Djokovic right now.
Bautista Agut.
Murray nets the forehand. Bautista Agut manages to level at 1 game all. And yeah, he's trying his best, yeah. And we've just had the first set finish on the John Cain Arena, going the way of Ben Shelton in the United States, the man who's never been out of America before in his life. until this trip to Australia, and he's just won the first set 6-3 against the home player Alexei Popper in the wildcard, who had that fantastic win over Taylor Fritz the other night. Also, goodness me, a surprising scoreline over on the Kia Arena. Caroline Garcia, the 4th seed, has lost the first set 6-1 against Laura Sigmund of Germany. Well. Big forehand hit by Bautista Agut. Murray can't reach it, and he's doing up his shoelace on his black shoe.
Actually, talking about Djokovic over on the Red Rover Arena, Bautista Agut's beaten Djokovic 3 times in his career. He might be created in Shanghai, Doha and Miami, so he's not ever afraid to take out some big names. Beat Del Potro in 2014 here when he was world number 5 back then. So I think he's a really sort of professional player, isn't he? Who just goes about his business with the right attitude.
Yeah. Little backhand chip down the centre by Murray, who is love 15 down here. He's 6-1 down and 1-1 in the second set. Forehand cross court by Bautista Agut. Much better hitting this by Andy Murray. Comes in, plays a backhand volley. And now he's shaking the racket to this crowd. And there's a chap with a comedy Scottish hat on.
15.
Who's dancing.
Is that a Jimmy hat? It has the sort of like the red hair attached to it. I think it is.
Steady.
Nothing
I think that's
wrong
what
with
it's
red
called.
hair,
I'm not
is there?
sure.
No.
I have to look it up.
From a fellow Ginge here in the booth.
Oh, yes.
We'll get you one of those hats.
We might have to get you one of those hats.
And the kilt.
Yes, it is called a Jimmy hat.
Tartan hat. Stick it on Mark's head. Won't need the hair.
No,
One
you
game
need the
all.
long locks, Woody.
He's growing it out, Annabelle. 15-all. Here's a backhand return by Bautista Agut. Murray goes cross-court with his forehand. Can he start to get into this match and feel like a tennis player rather than a hobbling wreck, which is what he is at the moment, as he judders to a stop once again on the forehand
15,
side, and he's
13.
clutching at those thighs, which are screaming with all the lactic acid in them.
Month of January has always been kind for Bautista Agut. He's won 4, I think, of his 11 or 12 titles in the month of January. And he is a gun when he plays those 250 level tournaments in the week or two before a Grand Slam. That's when he tends to pick up some of these titles in his career.
Into that forehand struck by Murray, who chips his backhand cross-court. He's 15-30 down here, 1 game all. After those 2 epic matches that lasted 10.5 hours between them, and he hits his big backhand on the line. Nicely struck by Murray. Still comes back though from the wall down the other end of the court, and Murray misses and slaps the surface of the court with his racket in frustration.
Yeah, I think he's getting really, really frustrated, and that's 16 unforced errors now to just 5 from Bautista Agut. But it's because, as you said, he's sort of struck some really fabulous shots, and when he's hit some of his better shots in this match, they've come back, and he's ended up coming out second best in a lot of them, and that is starting to build the pressure mentally on Andy Murray.
Annabelle Croft and Mark Woodford here with us on 5 Sports Extra and on BBC Sounds. This is the Australian Open 3rd round. Murray, who beat Matteo Berrettini in 4 hours and 49 minutes, and Thanasi Kokkinakis in 5 hours and 45 minutes, is really struggling out here as he hits his backhand chip down the line. He's break point down. Murray hits his forehand down the line again, and Bautista Agut reaches it, and he just doesn't miss this guy. They just keep on coming back, and he's inviting Murray to do something that will change this rally. And eventually Bautista Agut goes for a more expansive backhand, and he doesn't manage to hit the court. So Murray saves one of these 2 break points, and I get the sense, Mark,
14.
Murray just needs some good news at the moment, something to pick him up.
Yeah, yes, and that wouldn't have been good news had that one landed. That barely missed the sideline. But of course, with the fatigue value that is up Murray end of the court, the weight of shot disappears as well. So when he's trying to hit the penetrating, attacking shots to the corner, they're just not carrying as much pace, and that's allowing Bautista again to at least keep the point going.
He looks so fatigued, Murray. Serves into the net, and he's again almost fallen over as he's hit that shot. and he's broken for the first time in the second set. 6-1, 2-1. This is a tough watch, Gigi.
Yeah, it's that cry of anguish, the cry of pain that we heard ring out around the Margaret Court Arena. Not a lot of crying going on the Rod Laver Arena. It is business as usual in terms of when we left it with you, David. Novak Djokovic still has the break of serve over Grigor Dimitrov. Dimitrov has held serve since then. 39 minutes on the clock. Good movement from Djokovic at the moment. Dimitrov wearing the Nike Force of Nature kit, starting the year fresh and with that Australian feel and all the colours, but there's a bit of frustration as he looks across to Danny Valverde, who has coached Dimitrov, and he loses the first point on serve. So 3-5, love 15. Dimitrov serving to stay in the first set. Elsewhere, you just touched on it there, Ben Shelton is set up, which is absolutely incredible. And you think he was playing number 3 in Florida at college a year ago, and here he is a couple of sets away from a Grand Slam round of 6. He wasn't even number 1, he was number 3. And Caroline Garcia needs to get things sorted quickly, the 4 seed and the winner of the WTA finals last year. It is 1-1, game points for 2-1, but she has dropped the first set to Laura Sigmund. And Dimitrov, David, as you might have just heard there with the scoreline, is now up against it as he's passed off the serve by Djokovic, who is 2 points away from the first set.
Yeah, from what I'm seeing from Novak Djokovic, not too much to worry about. Andy Murray, rather different story.
Yeah, David, I did notice.
6-1, 2-1, sorry.
Sorry, David. When he went to sit down at the change of ends, you know when your legs are so tired that you would normally go up to the chair and just sit down. Well, what Andy Murray did was he walked towards the chair and he actually put his hands down on the seat first before he sat down.
Dear.
And that tells you how heavy the legs are.
That's how I sit down, Anna Mullen.
Yeah.
I'm a lot older than him and I'm really rather less flexible.
Well, it's just an indication, isn't it? When you're doing things like that, that's to kind of protect yourself. You're putting your arms first before you sit down. And
You'll be making those noises. Ooh.
Yes, exactly.
Down and getting up in a,
You're coming down from some height, though, David.
That's right.
You're allowed to kind of be careful.
Thank you, Mark. Murray's put a forehand into the net. 6-1, 2-1 Bautista Agut and 30 love. I mean, this is just non-competitive tennis at the moment.
Yeah, it's quite routine.
But understandable. Big picture, though, right? It is understandable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, it's... I think Andy Murray's press conference after this could be interesting because he was very outspoken when I put the question to him the other night as he puts the backhand into the net, and a final question of a little 4-minute interview huddle at 4:30 in the morning was, Andy, is it time to change this business of tennis, playing tennis matches at 3 or 4 in the morning?
Yeah.
And
I'm sure he
just flipped, to be honest, and he really lost his temper about it as Bautista Agut serves an ace down the middle for 3-1. Set point over on the Rod Laver Arena, Gigi.
It certainly is. It's on the serve of the Bulgarian. The 27th seed, Grigor Dimitrov. Djokovic gets into position, clutching the racket handle with both hands, mouth half open, eyes looking down. Then he bends the knees, gets into that deep squat as Dimitrov serves down the tee and he misses. He can't challenge because it's electronic line calling. He looks around as if to say, did it? It did. No close call shown. Set point, Djokovic with a second serve to look at. Dimitrov not quite ready. Hasn't beaten Djokovic since 2013. Djokovic, a 9-time champion here, looking to level up with Nadal at 22 Grand Slam titles. Second serve now. Djokovic double-handed backhand to the feet and the backhand flip. Oh! That was an exceptional backhand that we know he's capable of. Dimitrov and David, the set point is saved, but he's still got a lot of work to do.
Meanwhile, Andy Murray chasing down another big drive on the forehand side by Bautista Agut. He lifts the lob, Murray, but unlike against Kokkinakis, they're not dropping on the baseline 5 times in a row and enabling him to win a point. He's just trudging around as though it's all too much. 6-1, 3-1, love 15.
Yeah, he's almost hobbling around now, isn't he? And Bautista Agut, it's very underrated what he does on a tennis court. Even when Murray puts in a huge serve, the returns are struck with precision back into the corners. And as Woody was saying, he's just moving that ball around so effectively. It's like watching a practice drill, like a metronome.
He's trying to really muscle the ball over with these serves. but he's having to do it with his shoulder and his arms rather than the entire torso in sync the way it normally would be. Backhand return down the middle, backhand cross court by Murray. The problem is as well, Bautista Agut just looks as fresh as a daisy. He looks like he's playing the first round after a 3-week holiday in the Maldives. Big forehand struck by Murray. That's a bit more like it.
He's had a great winner there, and finally getting onto that front foot where he's pushing Bautista Agut to resort to a slice, sort of rather defensive backhand, and came off the ball. And then finally Murray able to get the body weight through and forward and transitioning. But you know, after he's hit this huge winner, he's then sort of hobbling back to the baseline. I mean, he did sit down at one change of ends, and I could see him sort of mouthing off to his team, saying, "What am I meant to do?"
Forehand runner down the line will do. That was decent.
30,
Meanwhile, set
15.
points again on Rod Laverini, Gigi.
Still up against it on the serve of the Bulgarian Grigor Dimitrov, and Djokovic just adjusting the shirt. There's some words of advice coming from Goran Ivanisevic to his charge, and Djokovic, I'm sure he's taking it in. It's going in one, it might be going out the other ear, or it might be settling somewhere, but Djokovic doesn't look as if he's listening, because he's in position, he's ready to try and close out this set, and the serve is missed out wide. Ricochets off the top of the tape from Dimitrov and flies wide. 45 minutes now, this first set. 3-5, set point number 2. Djokovic with the forehand, pushes it back, but it's a good serve, David, and we play on because we are back for a third deuce. 3-5 in this first set.
Yeah, Dimitrov desperately trying to take that match into the trenches and sort of test out Djokovic's physicality and movement. Here's a backhand cross-court from Bautista Agut. It's the 30-all point on the Murray serve. He's 6-1, 3-1 down here on BBC Sounds as the backhand goes cross-court from Murray. Then another one that goes deep onto the backhand of Bautista Agut, who is just so difficult to penetrate. He just keeps on getting the ball back to a length and says to Murray, what are you going to do with this one then? Let's have a look. Here's a backhand chip cross-court onto the baseline from Bautista Agut. Decent backhand cross-court from Murray, but can he finally hit a line? Oh, yes he can! Big backhand winner down the line, Murray, and he shakes the racket after a 23-shot rally.
Now there's
40,
Andy Murray, and showing us how he has arrived to the third round today. Hit a number of these against Berrettini as well as Kokkinakis, and that's the first of tonight, probably the best rally that he has played.
Well, he's going to give it everything, that much of which we can be sure. A point for 2-3 now for Murray. Serves down the centre onto the forehand, mid-court forehand, and he swipes long. And he's going for a lot here, trying to keep these points a little shorter.
Yes.
Can't keep winning 23-shot rallies, Annabelle.
No, and I think that's where Bautista Agut has got the edge, hasn't he? The ability to just make it a physical battle out here, and he's probably trying to do exactly that, extend as many of these rallies as he can right at the start, you know, early on in this second set. It's done a good job. And I've just noticed Murray falling off a lot of these shots that he's hitting when he's going for these winners. His body weight and the legs just aren't there.
No, it's not holding him up, is it really? His sort of base as he hits a good serve out wide and the ball floats long on the return from Bautista Agut. And even the big backhand winner he hit down the line mark, he was sort of stumbling off as he hit it.
Yeah, just trying to rotate his body out of the way so that he could massage the ball up the line.
Still though, a point to get a second game on the board. Baby steps for Andy Murray. Serves that one onto the backhand. Hits a backhand chip. In comes Bautista Agut. Forehand volley lobbed by Murray. Backhand volley cross court by Murray. Now he'll have a smash.
Game, Murray.
People are on their feet as Andy Murray wins the second game in the second set. It's a long old way back, but we've been saying it all week, haven't we? 6-1, 3-2 down, Andy Murray, but fighting. Goodness me, Gigi. There's only 3 games he's won, but the place erupted.
It certainly did, didn't it? And I think he's happy to be sat down. Now, I don't have news of a set to bring you on the Rod Laver Arena, but I have movement news. So Grigor Dimitrov was able to save 3 set points in that last game, but after the second set point, Novak Djokovic pulled up quite badly. Grigor Dimitrov's plan was to stretch, to move, to try and get Djokovic on the slide. He was able to save another point, but there was a fair bit of limping from Novak Djokovic. It's clearly the pain is starting to kick in. He does have the advantage here because he's got the break and he will desperately be trying to close out this set, but as I say, we are on movement watch. He has pulled up, wasn't moving that well, but now has the opportunity at 5-4 to serve out for the first set.
Thank you, Gigi. I don't know what Mark and Annabelle think about this. I do think, I mean, look, I'm not in Novak Djokovic's body to know how he feels, but I think he feels it more intensely when it's not going well. When he's upset, when he's in a bad mood, when he's worried. And we saw that in the second set the other day. He's just missed, I'm looking out of the corner of my eyes, just missed another big forehand. There is a psychological element to those things too.
Yes, and having suffered from some hamstring pulls in my time as well, you know, he was moving extraordinarily well for the first set, but just at the back end is where just that fatigue value, it starts to build up or get a little weaker because he's put it to the test. I feel like he's you know, doing quite okay out there.
Very interesting. Can Andy Murray make a match of this? 3-2 down and a set down he is. He's hitting bigger forehands now though, Murray, and then he knits one. And he hits the tape and it falls back his own side, but he's desperately, Annabelle, trying to drag himself into the match, isn't he?
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, he got a big boost from this crowd. They're very energised. They're 100% behind him. And it's the first time I've noticed ahead of that last point, even though he lost it, that he actually did a hop and a skip before going into the return motion. And we haven't seen any of that because he hasn't wanted to expend any extra energy. That's an awful forehand landing halfway up the net, and suddenly those legs have gone very heavy again.
Yeah, and again, I think the same applies to Murray here. When you hit an error like that, I'm sure you feel it more. You know, the fatigue, it's the disappointment added to it, and you suddenly remember, oh God, this is terrible. I can't move. Fight backhand on the centre from Murray. He's 30-love down, 3-2 behind as well. Set down, Murray chasing everything though. Backhand cross-court from Bautista Agut, this admirable man from Spain who hits an inside-out forehand as if he's just trying to extend rallies just to make it even worse. And then he hits a drop shot. Murray runs after it, and he can barely get back to his chair, let alone to the ball, and he's 40-love behind.
Well, what a polished point. Well executed by Bautista, peppering Murray deep into the backhand court, and then using the geography of the court by throwing in the drop shot. It doesn't have to be the shortest of drop shots, but what it forces Murray to do is travel the greatest distance, and unable to get there.
Yeah, and then that in itself has just sapped another bit of energy out of the legs. The fact that he had to make that long run diagonally across the court. And it's been perfection from Bautista Agut in this match, hasn't it? Tactically and execution.
4 games to 2, second set.
Well, I'm going to give everybody a little bit of hope here, Annabelle, because when they played each other, Murray and Bautista Agut 4 years ago here, we all thought it was going to be Andy Murray's last ever match, and he basically said that it could well be in his pre-tournament press conference because of all the hip problems he'd had. And Bautista Agut exposed his movement horribly in going up 2 sets to love, 6-4, 6-4.
That's a very good point.
Andy Murray launched a comeback. 7-6, 7-6, the next 2 sets. Dodgy hip and all. And he ended up losing it 6-2 in the 5th. But my word, did he remind us what a player, what a champion he was. And who knows whether maybe Andy Murray's got that in him again tonight. 15-love ahead he is. 6-1, 4-2 down here on BBC Sounds at the Australian Open.
What he needs to do, Andy, if he does go down 2 sets to love, is maybe just leave a little message for Bautista on the change of ends, just as a reminder.
Would be helpful, wouldn't it? What about Novak Djokovic, Gigi?
Breakback point for Grigor Dimitrov to keep the first set alive, serving forward at 5-4. He just had to stretch. You know, the Djokovic shot when he goes into the semi-splits, it wasn't at all comfortable. The movement, I agree with Mark, since he pulled up when he had the set points in the previous game has been good, but just then when he went into the splits, he didn't spring up, shall we say. Djokovic taking his time. Breakback point. Djokovic just continues to focus, ignoring what's just happened. He will just bounce that ball till he's ready, and he'll reach up and serve, and he'll clip the top of the net, and he'll turn around and take another ball. And Grigor Dimitrov is back by the Melbourne sign, moving from foot to foot. Djokovic head down, starts the bouncing of the ball with the left hand. Point for 5-all for the Bulgarian to keep this set alive. The serve down the tee, snap back through the middle of the court, the backhand through the middle again, inside and very deep from Dimitrov. He draws the error, he breaks the serve, and David, we are back on serve in the first set, 5 games all.
Wow, well that feels like quite a big moment in the context of that match, Annabelle and Mark, because basically Dimitrov needs to make that physical, don't you think, Annabelle?
Yeah, definitely. It's similar situation, isn't it? But you know, when I watched that point where Djokovic at 30-all, he just slipped on the court, and that just kind of jutted that left thigh just a little bit more, and then he stumbled across after that, and he's sort of gone into a bit of a mood out there. I think things just aren't really going his way. I think he wanted to close out that first set quite significantly, and you know, he hasn't been able to do that. So yeah, he's got into a bit of a problem.
We saw a lot of that the other night, didn't we? The bad mood really ended up costing him at times as Murray hits his backhand down the centre. He's 6-1, 4-2 down. Understandably, Murray's in a bit of a mood at the moment as well. Big forehand cross court from him. That's better. Now he comes in, doesn't need to play a volley, and gets back to 30-all.
He's got such unbelievable sort of talent, Andy Murray, that if he really wants to bring down the hammer on a point, you know, he can just unleash these massive, monstrous strikes. And my feeling for him is that he's going to have to take some extra risks and go after the ball and go into the corners and just go for short, sharper points. And if he can finish at the net, maybe play that type of tennis, because if he gets into these longer, drawn-out rallies, he's just not coming out on top in most of the rallies.
Would you ascribe to that, Mark?
Yeah, definitely. A serve +1 is what really needs to be, you know, working for him tonight. I feel like that's the messaging, or what they're working on with Lendl guiding Andy through this period.
Yeah, that's the serve followed by this shot, the second shot after the serve from Andy Murray, or rather the first shot after the serve, the second shot of his rally in total. Here's his backhand cross court, Bautista Agut. It's 30-all here. Murray's trying to keep this close in the second set. Forehand cross court, Bautista Agut. On the rise, Murray takes his forehand. It's just extraordinary hitting from Bautista Agut, but he's netting a volley. Murray at 40-30, shakes the racket again.
Gosh, you don't see him miss too many volleys like that. He played a perfect point, Bautista Agut. He was in a great position to put that volley away. I'm not quite sure how he missed it.
There's a couple of people on the front row all looking at each other, trying to work out, is Andy Murray saying that to me? Because he's turned around to a couple of people in the crowd and he said, come on, as if to say, you and me, let's do it together.
Thank you. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you.
Good luck with that. 40-30 Murray. 2-4. Serves a big shot at the wide. Now a backhand stroke down the line that Bautista Agut meets. Backhand cross court from Murray. Now he'll hit that two-hander again. It clips the top of the net, but it bounces back his own side. Deuce point. This feels like a big game, Annabelle. And I know he's way behind Murray, but he needs something to keep his spirits up.
Yeah, he definitely does. I mean, if he could just hang on to this service game and the way that the crowd are, and if you know, Bautista Agut started to doubt himself in any way, then, you know, he's in with a shout in this set. But you know, Bautista Agut's not going to go away lightly in this game either. He's going to try and sniff out a second break of serve.
2-4 Murray. Set down 6-1. has a forehand to hit at deuce here. He sits forehand down the line. Now backhand cross court. Replied in kind by Bautista Agut in his mint green shirt and his white shorts. Murray hooks his forehand into the top of the net, and he's complaining about how his base of movement isn't quite right.
It's strange, isn't it, David? Because it's fluctuating. There's some points where we're clearly seeing him absolutely hampered, laboured, exhausted, you know, falling off points. And then there's been a couple of moments, even in this game, where the legs have looked a little bit more energised, and then suddenly after another long rally they sort of go away again. So I think he's sort of wrestling with his mind as to how he's feeling as well.
I think that's right, and I think Djokovic is having the same problem. They're not feeling great, and it's a battle internally as Murray hits a volley cross court. Now a swatting smash.
I have to admire Bautista Agut in this situation, because this cannot be easy. He must feel like a sort of gladiator out there, where the audience have come to see him being put down, you know, and the thumbs down, as it were. And, you know, it's not easy when you've got an entire stadium absolutely baying for your blood, and he's just going about his business, keeping his head down. I feel it's not a nice situation for him.
But at the same time, that's Andy needs to control that with look for the support and try to whip the crowd onto his side and treat it like a Davis Cup match where you have 90% of the crowd right behind you. I think that is something that he needs to tap into.
Yeah, I think he's doing that.
A big serve.
Yep.
He sure has, and he's 4-2 behind Andy Murray, but he has a point to get it back to 4-3. Meanwhile, it's getting very interesting on the Rod Laver Arena. We'll be back with Gigi Salmon in a moment, with Grigor Dimitrov turning around that set. He was a breakdown. Djokovic served for it. Dimitrov's now 6-5 up, and Djokovic trying to hold on to his serve to force a tie-break. We'll be back there soon. Ace down the middle for Andy Murray to get another game on the board. And he points at somebody in the crowd. And he points at a Scottish Sultan. It's fluttering, and he says, I will give you everything I've got. 6-1, 4-3. Still a break behind Murray, but not done yet. Gigi, Rod Laver Arena.
Djokovic 5-6, 15-30 at the last change. He was speaking with John Blom as he aces down the tee, still unhappy that he got done with the time violation. Chatting away through that change. An hour and 1 minute on the clock. 8:15 in the evening. Djokovic looking for the tiebreak, having had 3 set points on the Dimitrov serve. We now find ourselves on serve. He's got 5 seconds to get the ball away, which he does down the tee. Backhand through the middle from the Bulgarian. The off forehand drops it mid-court. Djokovic steps back, clips the top of the net, so it slows down, so Dimitrov can adjust himself. Then it's long, unforced error off the racket of the 9-time champion, and it is set point and some confused looks in the Djokovic box. Chance for Dimitrov, who was broken early, to steal this first set. Dimitrov waits, squinting a little bit as he looks across the far side. Djokovic taking his time, now stretches up and serves down the tee, and it's an ace. And the set point is saved, and it's deuce. Sun is setting in Melbourne. Still nice temperatures. A lot of tennis on show. 3-all Popperin and Shelton in the second set, first set Ben Shelton. 5-2 now Caroline Garcia in the second set after losing the first 6-1 to Laura Sigmund. And Djokovic at deuce in 5-6, serves down the tee, stretch on the backhand swept cross court from Djokovic, slice cross court from Dimitrov, inside in from Djokovic, forehand cross court, sits up at an awkward height for Djokovic, he cannot control it. He then tentatively comes to a stop as he was running out wide. And let's just see if Grigor Dimitrov, at the second time of asking, can close out the set on the Djokovic serve. He's bouncing around on his toes, Dimitrov. The white headband on, the toweling headband, just keeping the hair pushed up off his face. Into position, the feet constantly moving, the racket being twisted in his hands. And a chance to take the set. Back to Margaret Court Arena shortly. Into the body goes Djokovic, into the tram lines, and David, we continue. 3 set points for Djokovic now, 2 for Dimitrov. It's 5-6, Djokovic serving in deuce.
And meanwhile, Andy Murray has won the first point against the Bautista Agut serve. We haven't said that very often in this match. He trails 6-1, 4-3. He is fighting his body as much as his opponent here. And all the fatigue that built up in those 10.5 hours of tennis in his first 2 rounds. Love 15, Bautista Agut serves a massive bullet out wide, but he's missed it. Murray now. His mood will improve if things like that keep happening. Steps inside the baseline, hits his backhand return. Suddenly he's moving a little bit better now, Murray. Hits his backhand cross-court. Backhand chip down the middle from Bautista Agut. Forehand driven by Murray. Can he get himself to love 30 on the Spaniard's serve? Forehand cross-court from Bautista Agut. Replied in kind down the centre by Murray. You can hear him now as he hits these balls, which usually is a good sign for Murray. And that's a good sign. A backhand belter down the line for a winner, and he's roaring, Murray.
I think Woody's right. He's absolutely using this match like it's a Davis Cup tie. And he keeps on turning around to the crowd and yelling at them and indicating that he wants more from them. And it's definitely having an impact. He's moving a little bit better. That was about as good a backhand as you'll ever see going up the line.
And if you notice that when he is turning to portions of the fans in the crowd, it's generally the ones that are holding and waving the Scottish flag, and he's centering on them, just trying to soak up some of their energy.
For both Novak Djokovic and Andy Murray right now, this feels like a question of mind versus matter. They're trying to fight their own bodies as much as their opponents, and Roberto Bautista Agut's helping Andy Murray out here. Double fault, love 40, 3 break points.
And it just shows how much a crowd can impact a tennis match and a player and give them energy, and the player will feed off the energy of what's coming out. I mean, this is an extraordinary turnaround compared to the player that we were watching just about 10 minutes ago.
Murray returns down the middle, and he's broken! He roars up to several people with Scottish flags in the crowd after Bautista Agut nets his forehand, and suddenly it's game on at the Australian Open, and here comes Murray back again. 4 games all.
Well, that is certainly not the norm for Bautista Agut, and I do think it is a reflection of the crowd support, that tidal wave for each time that Murray is winning a point, and perhaps just moving Bautista off of his axis. But he is a fighter himself, and these are the moments when he usually starts to just bring, clear the net with a little more height. He doesn't go quite as close to the lines. This is where it'll be a real test for Bautista.
Murray, 4 games all, serves into the net. And he's struggling to get his serve just right at the moment, Annabelle. He's really arming these serves over.
Yeah, I think quite a lot of in the first set, I just didn't think he was getting enough first serves in, and even the first serves, obviously there were the odd ones that were fantastic, but there were quite a few that were a lot shorter than we'd seen in the first 2 rounds, and then obviously he has been throwing in some double faults because he's not able to push off and use the legs. But yeah, this is a really key moment in this second set, isn't it? Right here with the scoreline having, trailed the score and now come back.
Yeah, got his hold here, Murray. Drop shots. In comes Bautista Agut. Lob from Murray over the head. Parried by Bautista Agut into the net. 15 all. And there's 2 men with Scottish flags painted onto their faces, and they are going to be hoarse in the morning, Mark, because they have not stopped shouting since they got out there.
Well, look, Murray is enticing them to just come on board his end of the court, and if he can secure this game, go up 5-4, it's only going to again incite the crowd to be a little louder. And then again it's that test of the resolve of the Spaniard up the other end.
And the adrenaline has extraordinary recuperative powers, doesn't it? Even when you've played all this tennis that Andy Murray's played. 15 all, 4 games all. BBC Sounds here at the Australian Open. 3rd round, Andy Murray trying to get through to the last 16 and to the 2nd week of the Australian Open. Moves to his right, hits a forehand lob. Where's this going to land? Long. Bautista Agut gets to 15-30. Precision hitting from him.
15-13.
He's a little bit reminiscent, isn't he, Woody, of the Hewitt days, when Hewitt was just so passionate and just fighting spirit and real street fighter out there on the court. And I sort of feel like the Aussie crowd, they just love the character of Murray and everything he brings to any tennis court.
Yeah.
Too true. Yep.
And Murray, with that latest come-from-behind win the other day, is now the clubhouse leader in terms of comebacks from 2 sets to love down. 11 in his career, he's won from 2 sets down. Forehand hit down the line, missed by Bautista, and Murray will enjoy that. Goodness me, 30 all, 4 games all. A point that he wins without having to do a lot. Those are rare. We've got Annabel Croft, we've got Mark Woodford, a multiple doubles champion at the Australian Open and all the other Grand Slams. And we've got an absolutely packed house on the second main court here at the Australian Open. Third round, trying to get to the second week of a Grand Slam. I mean, Andy Murray used to do that in his sleep here. That was pre-metal hip. 5 finals he reached. Didn't win any of them, but it was, you could almost put your house on the fact that he was going to be in the final for about 4 or 5 years there. Into the net goes the backhand from Bautista, and Murray has a point for a 5-4 lead. He's shaking his fist at this crowd.
13.
And it's the type or the way that he's winning the points. That one was benefiting from a mistake, and the way that Bautista tried to steer that, again, it shows that he is dealing with tension up his end of the court.
Yeah, he's definitely rattled, and I don't know who wouldn't be with a crowd that's just baying for your blood out here. I mean, very difficult situation for him, and he's just trying to get on with it, but Murray really doing a good job of pressurising him and making things awkward now.
Drop shot Murray, in comes Bautista, reaches it, Murray's going to get there!
Game, Murray.
He's 5-4 ahead, Andy Murray.
New balls, please.
Mum Judy's on her feet, blinking her eyes. She can't believe what she's seeing. Although, let's be honest, if anybody in this stadium can believe what they're seeing, it's Judy Murray. She's been watching her son do it for his whole life. Andy Murray sits down with a 5-4 lead. What about Novak Djokovic, Gigi?
In this first set tiebreak, it's now on the serve of Grigor Dimitrov. Both men have had set point opportunities. That's a heavy forehand hit inside in by the Bulgarian. They both had the set point opportunities, 3 of them on the Bulgarian serve for Djokovic, then 2 for Grigor Dimitrov, so both will have regrets if they don't come through this first set. Djokovic again, it's just when he lands heavily, when he's stretching out for a ball, there's that moment when he just pulls up a little and he gets himself into a trot and slows himself down, trying to take the weight off that leg. 3-5, Dimitrov serving down the tee, the stretch, the short ball. Dimitrov should deal with that, but Djokovic is there, puts the lob up, the overhead from Dimitrov into the open court. 4-5, but a couple of points now, and Djokovic could close out this first set. 5-4 he leads. The Serbian flags are flying. Packed house as you'd expect on the Rod Laver Arena. There's always going to be an intriguing competition between these two, despite the head-to-head weighted heavily in favour, David, of Novak Djokovic, but a little bit of a leveller with that hamstring, so intriguing how this set is going to turn out.
Yeah, it sure is intriguing. That's the perfect word for it. It's similar here, you know, in a way, because Bautista, overwhelming favourite given the recent 6 sets that he's won against Andy Murray, and obviously the physical condition of Murray, but suddenly there's that indefinable thing that Andy Murray's got going on here. He's starting to mount a comeback. 5-4 up now in the second set. Backhand down the centre by Bautista Agut, serving to stay in this second set. Murray whips his forehand cross court, and now he'll line up that shot again, go down the centre. He's moving all right here, Andy Murray. Backhand cross court from him now. Backhand drop shot from Bautista Agut. Here comes Murray, reaches it, but that won't do the job. Bautista Agut rolls the forehand down the line. What a clever drop shot that was, Mark Woodford.
There is 34 years of experience with Bautista.
59.
And meanwhile, as Andy Murray goes to just get something from his chair, we have another set point on Rod Laver Arena, Gigi.
We certainly do, as we reach the business end and the ball just flies past the outstretched Grigor Dimitrov. So it's a set point. It's a fourth for Djokovic, a first of this tiebreak. It's on the serve of the Bulgarian. It's been 30 minutes since his first set point opportunity, but inside in, David, we play on because it's now 6 points apiece with the set point save.
6-all.
And the players will go back to their chairs as they cross sides of the net, so there'll be a little bit of a delay between Dimitrov and Djokovic. 6 points all in the first set tie-break. Here, Bautista Agut has won another point. 30 love, 4-5 down he is. Murray was a set and a breakdown, and honestly, the thought that he would have even got himself into this position, Murray, seemed ludicrous about 20 minutes ago. Backhand down the line by Bautista Agut, chopped back with a forehand by Murray. Drop shot Bautista Agut, that's a tactic he keeps on playing. Murray reaches it, but he's passed. And it is such an effective weapon at the moment, the Bautista Agut drop shot.
It is. It's safe to say that Murray's movement is a lot better. It's improved. I think the body has woken up. Is it at its premium? No. But I think this is kind of the level that he will play the rest of this match out, and he's still recognised he might lose this game, but he's got back into the match and an opportunity for the second set.
Yep, he looks competitive now. Backhand chip cross court by Murray. 40 love back down. We'll get back to Rod Laver Arena in a moment as Bautista Agut misses his forehand, and it's 40-15 now on his serve, and we can go back to Gigi, where I think we might have another set point about to arrive.
Oh, we did. It has come. It has gone. It has been saved by Novak Djokovic. So Grigor Dimitrov has now had 3 set point opportunities. Djokovic has had 4. Remembering that Djokovic was 5-2 up in this tiebreak. They are 7 points apiece.
Goodness me. Talk about the stakes involved over there on the Rod Laver Arena. What about on the second court with Andy Murray? 5-4 ahead in the second set, 40-15 behind. First set went in a blink of an eye to this Spaniard, 34 years of age. 6-1, Murray blasts a forehand back at him, Lendl-like, and that was effective. And it got an error on the forehand of Bautista Agut, and I dare say Ivan Lendl would have been looking at that forehand and thinking, that's my kind of forehand.
I'm sure he would have fed plenty of drills, shots for Andy to be able to get around, and just those added reminders to keep going for it.
There's going to be another set point in a second on the Rod Laver Arena, but let's just see this final point of this game potentially at 40-30 for Bautista Agut. Mid-court forehand, he's put it straight back to Andy Murray, and he's been passed. It's juice from 40 love down. Set point on Rod Laver Arena, Gigi.
Djokovic, after a 23-shot rally, he broke down the defence of the Bulgarian, but it will be Dimitrov who will serve. They're both taking a little bit of extra time. They are working hard out here on the Rod Laver Arena, but Djokovic with a 5th opportunity, over half an hour since his first set point came and went in this. The first set, is it coming to an end? Djokovic awaits. Dimitrov is ready. Winds himself up now, Dimitrov, and he serves down the tee, and it's snapped back by Djokovic. It's a high ball. It should be put away by Dimitrov, but it's not. He goes back to Djokovic. Djokovic on the Melbourne side hits the forehand. You can hear Djokovic as he's hitting this ball. He goes backhand cross-court on the angle. The slice floated ball from Dimitrov, scooped up cross-court from Djokovic. Big forehand from Dimitrov. Backhand cross-court from Djokovic. What depth from Djokovic. Djokovic backhand low, drops that one short. The slice up the line. He draws Djokovic in. Djokovic into the net. Can he pass him? Djokovic volleys for the winner, and he falls down to the ground. But the job is done. Novak Djokovic with his 5th set point. He closes it out. He's still sitting down. He's absolutely exhausted. He has spent but 77 minutes played, and he takes the first set 9 points to 7 on the tiebreak 7-6.
Wow. Meanwhile, Roberto Bautista Agut from 40 love got back to juice. Murray, then Bautista Agut won the next 2 points. It's 5 games all. Annabelle, where do we look next?
Oh my goodness, I have to say that was pretty exciting looking at that last point from Djokovic, and he did what's called the plough in yoga at the end of that point, and yeah, he looked pretty flexible in it as well. That's when you put your feet over your head.
Talking about how much the injury is impeding him, he did a full slide, almost splits into the forehand corner in order to get the ball back. As Bautista Agut hits a drop shot, Murray can't get there. It's love 15 on his serve, and then once he won the point brilliantly, Djokovic, he sort of hopped on one leg as if his bad leg wouldn't hold him up, and then he fell on his back. I mean, honestly, I think he wants everybody to know it's hurting, and I'm sure it is hurting, but it's a heroic thing to be winning the match and winning the set, but he just wants everybody to know this is really hurting everyone.
Look, and he won it. I thought it was a smart end for him to win that final point by coming forward, and he really, I think that's the data, the analytical side that players are armed with these days. Dimitrov on a short backhand will go up the line. Djokovic sat on that the whole way and played a lovely angled volley to win the set.
Big ace out wide from Andy Murray at 5 games all, 15 all, and I should say Andy Murray's doing exactly the same thing. He's performing heroically, and he's making sure everybody knows how horrible this is, what he's having to put himself through, because frankly it is. I don't know how they do it.
Dramatic, isn't it? It's a good entertainment though.
And dramatic on all 3 courts, because over on John Cain Arena, Alexei Popyrin has moved into a second set tiebreaker. So they're jammed packed over there. Yeah. They're squeezed in here, as well as on RLA, MCA and JCA.
Yeah.
Full capacity.
One of the great days here at the Australian Open. Really great atmosphere. It's been a carnival atmosphere out in the grounds today. Live music playing, sun out, people drinking beer, having a great time. Now they're packed in at 8:35 in the evening, local time, here at the Australian Open. And Andy Murray is in another battle. 5 games all, 30-15. He was a breakdown in this set. He's a set down. But the comeback is on. Serve out wide onto the backhand, driven back at him by Bautista, who slams the backhand cross court once again. Forehand hit inside out by Bautista. Now he hits the backhand slice that Murray meets with his two-handed backhand cross court. Now he'll chip one down the centre, Will Murray, fighting it out on this bright blue court, and then Murray almost falls over as he hits that forehand into the net, and these are danger moments again at 5 all, 30 all.
Yeah, he's furious with himself missing that because, you know, that was probably one of the more straightforward forehands in the rally, but I agree with both of you that I think in between the points he looks like he's got more spring in his legs and feet, and he's moving an awful lot better than he was at the beginning of this match, but that will feel like a real wasted point, that last one.
The ball bouncing of Andy Murray at 5 all, 30 all. Serves out wide onto the forehand, short return, backhand cross court by Murray. He's really nailing these ground strokes at least now. Forehand on the line is well struck by Bautista though. He looks as fresh as a daisy. Backhand cross court from Murray is deep. This to set up game point for Murray, or break point for Bautista, and Bautista will have the break point because Murray's gone long and Murray's frustrated with that shot.
13, 14.
Just pointing to the direction that he felt he should have gone. Instead of going cross court, the backhand of Murray should have been threaded up the line. I think the forehand side is the more vulnerable wing in the Spaniards' ground plate.
60,000 people have attended the Australian Open today, I'm just reading. Serve out wide from Murray. Oh, what a return by Bautista. This to set up a breaker serve, but Murray passes with a two-handed backhand. Where did he come from?
Oh, outstanding.
Yes.
Well, look, the crowd on their toes. They've seen this in 2 Titanic matches that Murray has played thus far, but boy, oh boy, the volley by Bautista, it was a hope that this one ball was going to be enough. I think he was surprised that Murray had recovered out of the corner, and he paid the price, Bautista. That volley should have been put away.
Yeah, it didn't have enough bite on it, did it? He sort of sat it up, rather pushed it.
5 all, deuce. Murray steps in with a forehand on the line, comes into the net. Lob lifted by Bautista, halfway to the moon. Murray lets it bounce and smashes.
Advantage, Murray.
I think with just the sort of match and atmosphere that Andy Murray absolutely loves being involved in. He's just lapping it up, isn't he?
This for 6 games to 5. for Andy Murray in the second set. He trails by a set to love here on BBC Sounds, and he's got it. Shanked forehand by Bautista Agut, and listen to this place.
Murray leads 6-5, second set.
Murray joins in with them, roaring for all he's worth. This is his kind of match now. 58-minute second set, and Murray sits down knowing he's going to have at least a tiebreak. Gigi on Rod Laver Arena. It's reboot time for Grigor Dimitrov, I'm imagining.
And after a 77-minute first set that Novak Djokovic won, he called the trainer and took a medical timeout, and it was quite uncomfortable viewing. They had the towel placed over Djokovic's legs, and the trainer was really getting stuck into that left hamstring. Djokovic was wincing, I was wincing, I think the trainer was wincing. He was really kneading, he was really massaging, and then at the end Djokovic just stretched his leg on the bench. And on we go. Djokovic serving first in the second set. It is 15-all, but he does have that first set in the bag. So as you say, an interesting test now for Dimitrov, who had set point opportunities, 3 of them in the first set, and still making Djokovic pay. It's the third overhead. He finally puts it away, Djokovic. And we've had, David, a message. You mentioned Andy Murray goes back and sits down. Horatius said, I'm amazed Murray's sitting down at the changeovers. His body looks like it would freeze him like a statue if he stopped moving for more than 30 seconds.
That's a very good point.
It is a good point, because generally when you have cramp or you're dealing with fatigue, you don't want to be sitting down and pushing back up again. So that's a good call.
Murray is jogging around the court, whipping up this crowd.
Please take your seats.
Scottish flags
Ladies and gentlemen,
wherever
ready
you
for
look.
play.
Painted
Thank you.
faces, blue and white. And the man that has been doing them proud for the last 18 years, and all of Great Britain proud, is fighting for all he's worth here yet again. 6-5 ahead now, Murray. Bautista Agut, this admirable man from Spain who just keeps on coming, is at 15-love.
Yeah, you really have to admire his strength of character, just the way that he's dealing with all this situation out here. All the eyes are on Andy Murray.
Yep. And he's used to it. Forehand down the centre from Bautista Agut. Brilliant backhand from Murray. Goodness me, on the rise he struck that sweet as a nut.
15-all.
I could watch that backhand all day long. Just the economical take back, and just the sort of the swing through, effortless strike, body weight transference. And I've called it a wrecking ball before, but it really does look like that, like this weight of concrete attached to it. Absolutely beautiful.
Yes. Yeah, when he really catches that thing, it doesn't come back too often. 15-all here. Bautista Agut serving, 5-6 down. Murray nets the backhand return. He thought he was going to make that for a second. He's chuntering. Criticising his own return position. But at least he's talking about his actual tennis and not his body in that moment.
Yeah, that's true.
Finally, he's able to see this as a tennis match a little bit more, I think, Murray, rather than just a battle against his own aching legs. Backhand return by Murray at 30-15 down. Forehand beautifully struck, but just too much on it on the forehand by Murray. Long it goes, 40-15 Bautista Agut.
I mean, mentally, this is so key to this entire match outcome, isn't it? If Andy Murray is able to get one set all, you can imagine he'll feed off the crowd even more and feel like he really has a chance to win this match. But if he goes down 2 sets to love, then that's going to be an enormous mountain to climb psychologically.
Forehand approach by Bautista Agut. Now a volley. Murray reaches it, lifts the lob. He is now chasing another lob down, but he can't get this one back over the net. And we're going to have a tie break.
6-all, second set tiebreak.
Well, it's long odds anyway, and it really hinges on this tiebreaker for Andy. It's difficult to really see if he's down 2 sets to love to make another Herculean effort to get back into this match.
It feels as if Bautista Agut has got a little bit tentative, Woody, on the volleys recently.
Sure.
I mean, at the beginning of the match, he was putting a lot of those volleys away, and now he's sort of slightly pushing them, giving Murray much more opportunity. So interesting to see what happens in this tiebreak if he's up at the net.
First point of the tiebreak, Andy Murray takes the serve from the far end as a plane goes overhead, or a helicopter, I'm not quite sure which. Andy Murray has a look at it as if to say, any chance you could just let go? First point of the tiebreak, serves out onto the backhand of Bautista, who replies with a wonderful backhand return. Now forehand on the centre that Murray meets and goes down the middle himself. He'll now hit his backhand cross-court. Bautista cross-court backhand. They're trading these diagonal two-handed backhands to one another as if it's a training drill. Off the top of the net from Bautista, drop shot Murray. In comes Bautista, Murray with a volley!
And being able to read Bautista was Andy Murray in that rally.
1-0.
Throws in the drop shot, and always had that idea that a lot of the Europeans, when they're retrieving the opponent's drop shot, they love to the angle response, and Murray was sitting on it. Just a simple bunt into the open court for the first point.
This is 5 Sports Extra from the BBC. On BBC Sounds, take us with you wherever you go today. Live ball-by-ball commentary of the Australian Open as Andy Murray is trying to do it again. 6-1 and a breakdown he was. First point of the tie-break won by Murray. Bautista serves onto the forehand, blasted back at Bautista, but Murray goes long. 1 point all.
1-0.
I like that play though. It's a second serve. Why not have a crack at it? You're already up 1 point.
Beautiful sunset now over the second main court here at the Australian Open. A orangey pink purple sky with Andy Murray in battle. Point all. Forehand return down the line by Murray. Beautiful forehand struck away there by Bautista, who gets to move 2-1 ahead. Novak Djokovic is the setup. He won it 9-7 in the first set tiebreak. One game all against Grigor Dimitrov over there. Brian Shelton has won the second set against Alexei Popyrin. That's 2 sets to love for the American. Caroline Garcia is level up at 1 set all against Laura Siegmund, the 4th seed Garcia. We're on BBC Sounds, we're on the BBC Sport website and app where 52,000 people are following the live chat over there. Get involved, hashtag BBC Tennis if you'd like to let us know how you're feeling right now. Backhand cross court from Bautista at 2-1 and the Murray serve. Murray hits his backhand down the middle. Now he moves to his left, he's having to scamper and scramble Murray here. He's on the defence and it's brilliant from Bautista with a forehand put away. And suddenly, Annabelle, the conviction has returned to the Spaniards' game.
Yeah, it definitely has. That was much more the type of point we saw early on in this match, wasn't it? With those big forehands into the backhand corner, really pulling Murray out of position and then nailing and executing on the final finish. So really impressive ball striking and impressive character, I would say, from Bautista Agut with what he's coping with out here.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know how they do it. Literally about 99.9% of the people inside of the stadium are supporting the other guy. Murray aborts the service toss. Goes again. Chip backhand return, Bautista forehand drive down the line by Murray. Down the line goes the backhand from Bautista. It misses by about a foot. And Murray sighs a bit of a sigh of relief there, I think, because he was leaving that one. He was not going to reach it, and it just floated wide. So only a single point difference between the two in this tiebreak, but it's a mini break for Bautista at 3-2.
It's still on a knife edge, isn't it? It certainly doesn't feel as if Bautista Agut is completely in control of this by any stretch of the imagination. But he's certainly not going to change any expression or body language. He will just keep going about his business, head down, very focused.
Bautista serves. What a lovely serve again. Murray scrambles it back, but Bautista polishes off the forehand very convincingly to move to 4-2 ahead. He needs 3 more points to win this second set tiebreak. Does the Spaniard as the players change ends, and Murray has it all to do again.
Well, he needed that first serve, didn't he, Woody? Getting that swing on it, and again, just making Murray stretch and have to sort of really lunge at that return of serve.
Yep, you're so right there, Annabelle. And I'm guessing, and you've seen Bautista Agut play many times, as you have as well, David, that at these moments right now, these are key. I don't think that Bautista is going to be trying to push forward to net. And if that's some comfort for Andy to at least just get the ball back into play off the returner serve here.
Let for serve.
Stoic part of his game is from the baseline to kind of maybe get to Murray out wide on the first serve and then hit to the open court.
And he does go out wide, and he does get the open court, and he hits his backhand into it. Murray reaches it, lifts the lob, but it's not going to find the court. And Bautista moves 5-2 ahead here in the second set tiebreak. 2 more points he needs.
Well, I held my breath right there to see Bautista. An approach shot that Annabelle and I would have played in our day. It was a backhand slice approach and ready for the next point, for the next ball, which Murray unable to get the ball back into play.
Yeah, that was old school, wasn't it? And really a beautiful approach, the way he played it. I mean, he's just doing so much that we should really be admiring out here, and the crowd should be acknowledging, but they're not going to. They're right behind the Scot.
Big serve out wide, Murray. Drive, volley, cross-court, forehand. 5-3 behind. Shakes the racket to let his opponent know he's still there.
3. Bautista.
Good little steps in between from coming forward off the back of the serve, and a wonderful drive volley into the corner. No hesitation on that one whatsoever.
Murray lost the first set 6-1 in about half an hour. Second set, he was a breakdown. He's fought back. He has another look up at the helicopter who's circling this court. Maybe they couldn't get tickets. This is their way of watching. Here's a serve down the centre under the backhand. Murray with a forehand. 3-5 down in the tiebreak. Off the top of the net, Bautista Agut. Murray heaves a forehand at him. And another one. He's blasting away here, Murray, trying to pierce the defences of this obdurate Spaniard. Backhand down the line by Murray. Forehand cross-court by Bautista Agut. Replied in kind by Murray. He's having to do so much running here, and those legs must be screaming with the lactic acid. Backhand cross-court. Murray hits the line! Wow!
By a smidge.
4. Bautista Agut.
Well, Bautista Agut stopped playing, didn't he? I think he thought it was going wide. He could have played that ball, but he thought that was just travelling outside the line, and it just caught the back edge. He stopped and stared at it. Maybe Murray not trying to play that one.
So, Murray was 5-2 down in this tiebreak under these purple, pink, beautifully sunset skies. He's now 5-4 behind. Returns with a forehand down the middle. Bautista Agut hits into the open court. Absolutely brilliant shot.
6-4.
Solid as a rock. Murray complains, frustrated he didn't get more on the return. And now he's 2 set points down for a 2-set lead for the Spaniard.
Murray mouthing across to his support camp. What was that, he said. And such a perfectionist out on any court. Just normally so fantastic on return of serve. Love to have that one back.
Set point to Bautista Agut. Hits the net with the first serve. Can Murray find another way back? He returns his forehand down the middle. Bautista Agut down the centre with his backhand. Murray with a decently deep backhand and then a chip down onto the backhand side. Murray giving him the full variety of spins here. Murray hits his backhand on the line. He's hitting that shot really sweetly now. Backhand cross court by Bautista Agut, standing up to it on set point for a 2-set lead. Murray chips down the centre again, trying to entice an error, but this guy doesn't make errors. Backhand cross court from Bautista Agut, replying in kind by Murray. Now Murray hits his forehand cross court. He's already played about 12 hours of tennis, and he's still going because he outlasts Roberto Bautista Agut, who knits, and it's 6-5 and set point saved after a 22-stroke rally.
6.
Wow, what a point. Unbelievable. And I didn't expect Bautista Agut to break down in that last rally, and Murray's walked across to the sideline. I thought he was actually going to want to sit on the advertising hoardings there. It was such a demanding point, physically a real lung buster of one. Has he got some energy to really launch into this next serve that he's got back on his terms here? Still down set point though.
Murray serving this time though. Tries for the ace to keep it to 1 shot rather than 22 shots this time, but he missed. Where does Murray put this second serve? Set point down, onto the backhand it goes. Murray with a backhand chip cross court, he's into the rally. He hits his two-handed backhand cross court. Bautista Agut hits a very expansive cross court backhand of his own. Now forehand, he's got Murray moving. Murray with a big forehand cross court. Now he's taking charge. He comes in with a backhand drop shot! And Murray waves his arms to the crowd and he says,
6-all.
oh yes, here I go!
And here he is, Murray using the chairs on the change of ends just to prop himself up after the last couple of rallies. And perhaps Bautista Agut making a mistake as it's being replayed on the screens in front of us. Chose the wrong direction. It opened up the court for Murray to hit a penetrating forehand that ultimately allowed him to move towards the net and win the point. But it has energized the crowd once again.
Yeah, I agree with you, Mark. Just that forehand cross-court that Murray possesses, even when he's pushed defensively, he's able to give it some height. It has a lot of spin and weight, and it keeps on travelling, and it got him back involved in that last point. Who'd have believed
6 points all in the tie-break. 2 set points saved. And Murray thinks he's hit an ace, but no, it's missed by about a millimetre.
Close.
He put his head in his hands then, Murray, because he thought, oh, I've won a point without 30 shots. 6-all. Murray serves onto the forehand, lines up another forehand cross-court that Bautista Agut meets with a forehand cross-court of his own, then a backhand cross-court from the Spaniard. Murray really nailing these backhands now. Forehand cross-court, heaving it cross-court like Lendl's asked him to. Here's the backhand from Bautista Agut. They're absolutely crunching these balls. Forehand on the line from Murray. Whoever wins this point gets set point. Backhand chip cross-court by Bautista Agut. Drop shot Murray, in comes Bautista Agut. Volley Murray!
Murray.
Breathtaking. Once again, the inspired play and full of risk with the drop shot, but it turns the point in his favour.
This is vintage Andy Murray. He is 35 years of age. 4 years ago, he was on this court with the same guy in what we thought was the last match of his career. But he's got a metal hip and his hopes are high. Set point, Andy Murray to level. Forehand return down the centre. Moves to his right. Chops at a forehand, trying to entice an error from Bautista Agut, who drop shots, and in comes Murray and goes down the line, and he's passed by a brilliant volley by Bautista Agut. How brave was that from the Spaniard? Set point save, 7 points all.
Oh my goodness, that was an outstanding volley by Bautista Agut. I wouldn't have put my money on him to come out on top in that last rally. It was a brilliant sort of chippy slice shot from Murray, drawing him forward. What an awkward shot, but he did so well to get down to it, keep the racket head face open and control it, and also stay calm in that situation.
You're dead right, Annabelle, and the fact that Murray just played that short ball, just enticing Bautista forward.
7 points all in the second set tie-break. Murray's a set down. He came from a breakdown. He saved 2 set points in the tie-break. He hits his backhand on the centre, trying to set up set point for a second time. He has! Forehand long by Bautista Agut. And Murray, I can barely believe I'm saying this, has managed to find his way to set point.
Yeah, it was extra weight on that return of serve once again. One of the best that we've ever seen in the game. Him and Novak Djokovic, these returns of serve, the way they time them. But he just went after that ball and it took time away from Bautista Agut and he missed.
Sir Andy Murray of Great Britain has set point for a second time. The first serve thuds into the net. Second serve, Murray onto the forehand, blasted back, and Murray fends it off with a two-handed backhand, moves to his right, paws at a forehand, drifts it onto the baseline, and Bautista again nets!
Second set, Murray. 7 games to 6. 1 set all.
Murray, hands on his hips, even he can't believe he's doing this. But he looks into this crowd, and he says, I can do this. And he raises his racket. It's a standing ovation. 78 minutes to add to the 10.5 hours of a couple of days ago and a couple of days before that. How does he do it? How does he do it? 9-7, set and a breakdown, set points down. It's now 1 set all. Mark Woodford, Annabel Croft, explain this.
I think we're
Annabelle
very
has to speak
speechless.
first because I'm exhausted. I need some
I think I need a
fluids here.
bed. Well, it's just him, isn't it? He's done this throughout his career, and you talked about it, David, the fact that we're just seeing vintage Murray. It's like a rolling back the years from 10 years ago. I mean, the court craft and the guile and the ability to mix the pace, disrupt, use the chippy slice backhand, use the short shots, the net skills, coming out on top in some of that cat and mouse tennis. Everything that he does on a tennis court is absolutely mesmerizing. And it is hard to believe that Bautista Agut has done such an amazing job. The entire crowd against him. He's kept his head down. He got himself into a winning position to take a 2-sets-to-love lead. But Murray will never go away. And what a competitor. What an extraordinary situation. And I think his body's getting stronger. I think he's looking much better at the end of that second set. Quite extraordinary.
Yeah, I genuinely think it is getting stronger. I think it's exactly what you said at the start of the match, Mark. I mean, maybe it's taken longer than even we thought it would. A set and a half, he was a set and a breakdown, and he could so easily have lost the second set without the comeback and been just dejected after it and this end in straight sets. But just bit by bit, he grew back into the set, and then the adrenaline took over?
Definitely, and the key game was at 4-2. Murray was serving, facing break points to go down a double break. To survive that game, it changed, as it has done. There have been points in other matches, the 2 previous matches that he's played, where something has occurred and it's clicked for Andy. But an amazing effort to draw to 1 set apiece, and it's like a big... can he keep this going? I mean, we just don't know how Bautista handles this. The fact that it was in his palms and it's now slipped through. There is a lot of work still to be done for the 22nd seed.
There certainly is. Gigi, can he keep it up? Over to you.
Unbelievable stuff. You're listening to Tennis Breakfast on BBC. Sounds lovely to have you with us. Just to let you know that Dimitrov has fended off the Djokovic attack and break points to level for 2-all in the second set. And there's a couple of tumbles and pull-ups from Djokovic, still not at all comfortable. It's 3-all in the third set. Alexei Popyrin and Ben Shelton. Ben Shelton, such an exciting player. He leads Popyrin by 2-sets-to-love. And Caroline Garcia is 4-3 up with the break, serving for 5 in the deciding set of her match against Laura Sigmund. She lost, remember, the first set, Garcia, by 6-1. But on we go. Split sets, drop shot from Bautista, who had set up nicely. He's at the net and he's passed by the Spaniard. We are back, well and truly, Mark Woodford, on the Andy Murray roller coaster.
We certainly are. And where was a service game like that for Bautista at the back end of the second set? There was a couple of love games early on in set 2, but then it was, they were just clawing at each other, pushing each other to the limits. And, if it was using a boxing analogy, that's what I was trying to talk about. It was taking swings at each other. And eventually, the telling blow came from Andy Murray to win that second set.
Well, the win predictor hasn't been swayed by Murray taking that second set. I think the win predictor thinks it might have finished Murray off, because at the start of the match, 62% in favour of the Spaniard winning. After Murray taking the second set, it's now 87% in favour of the Spaniard.
Wow. Maybe they also have a fuel gauge, an energy gauge of Andy Murray that they've been able to test out on that change of ends, and just that point finishing GG, and Andy almost buckling under the returner serve.
Getting a close-up of his legs. How must they be feeling? I mean, after he finished at 4:08 in the morning against Kokkinakis, he was back here 5 hours later. He had a light hit, he was in the gym, and Stefanos Tsitsipas said, what is he doing here? He should be in bed.
I heard the same news, and I mean, I think my jaw hit the ground when I was informed that he had come to the grounds. I mean, an example would be the young Australian, new to Grand Slam tennis, Rinky Hijikata. They played his first round, 4 hours and 20 minutes. He won from 2 sets to love down as well. He did not turn up at the courts the following day, and this is a young 21, 22-year-old. He decided that it was best for him to stay away, and then he turned up for a very light 10-minute practice the morning of his next round, unable to really get his body going in the match against Tsitsipas in the second round. Again, I'm only highlighting that because he is 21 or 22 years of age. Youth is supposed to be on his side.
Andy Murray just can't stay away.
Yeah. Well, is that I wonder if is that Lendl's influence, or is it of Andy's doing? The combination works well so far.
Certainly does. Hour and 54 on the match clock. Into the net off the serve goes the Spaniard. The time is 9:06 in the evening local time. It's 10 o'clock in the morning here in the UK. Do keep getting in touch with what you're up to. A lot of you are probably still on the sidelines of children's matches. You're at the clubs that take place over the weekend. Maybe doing some decorating. Maybe you're having a lazy day. At 5 Live Sport, use the hashtag BBC Tennis. 30-15, Murray misses out wide. Back he goes, little mutter towards the box, that little sort of scowly face. Bounces the ball with the left hand, twists the racket with the right. Now he settles and serves, taken inside the baseline. Nice little angled return from Bautista Agut. Has time to run round and go inside in with the forehand. Bautista Agut hooks the forehand cross court. It's slammed and slapped cross court. Annabelle for the winner.
Well, that's just the capability that he's got, and actually that was his 27th winner, which has matched Bautista Agut's number now in this contest. But it feels very different, the match now. At the start, we were all talking and focusing on how exhausted he looked, how heavy the legs were, how there was kind of really no... I think we probably all felt like was there a possibility when we first looked at how he was moving out there on the court. I don't feel that right now. I'm looking at it thinking this feels very equal. If not, it feels a little bit like Murray has the upper hand at the moment psychologically, because he's got the crowd behind him there, you know, and the construction of the points has shifted. No longer are we seeing Bautista Agut bossing a lot of the points and finishing them off with big forehand winners. You know, it's pretty equal.
29-minute first set that Roberto Bautista Agut won by 6-1. A 78-minute second set that Murray took on the tiebreak. And Peter has got in touch with us. Sir Andy Murray, I have lost count of the number of times I've been in tears listening to at 5 Live Sport commentary of this total and utter legend. Extraordinary. And he wants more. Game point. Not Peter, that is, Murray. Murray mid-court, the forehand just set up too high, hit it too high, didn't get it right, mutters to the box, and it's deuce.
Yes.
Well, he does make it easy for us, doesn't he, as, you know, commentators that have covered his matches over the last decade and a half. And at times it does get, you know, when he's not moving well and he gets a little cantankerous on the court, but it is a joy when he is in form. As champions, a great champion, their form speaks very loudly.
That's a lovely little drop shot. Opposite direction of Bautista. Agut brings up game point.
Yeah, I mean, his feel on the racket face is absolutely outstanding. So not only are we seeing these heavyweight blows from the back of the court from Murray, but then this interspersed and blend with the lovely feel and touch shots, and just the change of grip we can see here as we look at it on our monitors, just to be able to play that soft touch shot.
Game point. Backhand swung down the line for Murray. Then he swings the backhand cross court. He comes forward on the volley. He cuts it short. The Spaniard gets it, finds the angle. The pick up from Murray doesn't find the court. A great get from Roberto Bautista Agut.
Yeah, now he's chuntering away because he hates to come out second best on a rally like that where he's in control of the rally. And Bautista Agut's one of the fastest players on the tour, you know, that takeoff speed. And not only just to get there, his footwork skills around the ball to be able to, you know, do something with it when he finally tracks down a ball. But that will make it a little bit tougher, I think, when Andy Murray's sometimes in control of a rally.
Juice. Murray serves and misses long, takes a couple of steps further forward, shakes his head as if to say, how could I miss that? Has a little mutter, takes the ball from the pocket on the left side, twists the racket in the right hand. Roberto Bautista Agut just swaying ever so slightly, slight bend in the knees. Now he steps inside the baseline, hits the forehand. Murray holds his ground but drops the ball short. The slice cross court from Bautista Agut. It's Juice in the second game of the third set. In control, the Spaniard cuts under the ball but lifts that up and lifts it sitting high, and it is a lovely put away from Murray. Almost a gift for Murray in the end.
Mark, that was your slice forehand approach this time. We saw one off the backhand, and that was a similar attempt, but on the forehand side for Bautista Agut, but just wasn't good enough. This isn't a grass court, and that ball sat up, gave Murray plenty of time. He was there waiting.
Yep. And just let's keep watch on the pace of the second serve of Murray. I've just been trying to track that in this game, and you'll see in the top right hand of the court, the previous second serve was 136 Ks. That's mild. That's not going to be working for him in this match.
Ooh, but the lob worked for him on that occasion. It's got back by the Spaniard. It will land in. It's a high ball from the back of the court. It's cut short, a backhand cross court. The rally continues. A drop shot from Murray. Here comes Bautista Agut. It's covered from Murray with the lob, and back goes the Spaniard through the legs into the net. Point, game one. One game all. Third set, the Murray box on their feet. Murray leaning forward, clutching his left knee, gulping in the oxygen. What a point.
It really was. And he's now, as Mark Woodford had been talking about, leaning on the hoardings once again, just to prop himself up. And that's taken its toll, that last game. I think he suddenly hit a little bit of an energy sap. And as you've been mentioning, maybe the legs on the serve not quite working as well. But oh my goodness, is he entertaining. We've seen cat and mouse. I call it Tom and Jerry tennis out here. And both of them trying to outwit each other. But that last game, it definitely took its toll out of the legs of Andy Murray.
Novak Djokovic has just broken the serve of Grigor Dimitrov. He tried earlier in the set, didn't make it. He's done it this time, so Djokovic leads by a set and 4-2 with nearly 2 hours played. And once again, Woody, he looks, Andy Murray, in an awful lot of pain.
Yeah. And look, he has done awfully well to win the second set there, but I'm just wondering whether maybe he's wanting to give this idea to Bautista that, you know, he's
Suffering.
like milking the situation. Is what I'm sure he is fatigued without a doubt, but you know, sometimes when you are, you know, you're heaving on the court and holding your racket to prop yourself up. If you're up the other end, I mean, I think as an athlete, you are looking to see how your opponent is travelling. And if maybe that's sending a signal to Bautista to try something a little bit. This could be a bit of a web, a trap. A trap,
Playing toss'em.
But wouldn't that take even more? But wouldn't that take even more energy? Everything he's doing to look tired. If he's already tired, if you do that, you're even more tired.
Possibly.
Forehand from Bautista Agut down the line, middle of the court from Murray. The off backhand from Bautista. He's moving Murray from side to side. He goes back behind Murray, who plays the slice forehand. Dropped over from Bautista Agut. Murray gets there with a pass. An absolute beauty, and he opens up his arms to the crowd, and once again he picks on someone just to yell at, and he goes come on, and Murray goes come on, and they say come on together.
He's got an ability to kind of make the crowd smile with him, hasn't he? You look around, the fans, and including his mum Judy, but sometimes she's on her feet and she's smiling and laughing and enjoying just this whole entertainment that we're witnessing out here.
But there again, he chased down every ball there. He was able to explode. So, yeah.
You're not buying it,
passage.
Mark, are you?
I'm not totally sold on it just yet.
Game points to the Spaniard. We've had a lovely message from Ian. He says, I'm on the waiting list for a replacement hip. The way that Andy Murray is playing, I think I'll ask them to do the other one at the same time. What a superhero. Serve down the tee. I mean, he showed what can be done. He has the metal hip with perseverance, passion, patience. Not walking smoothly, but when has he? And Roberto Bautista Agut holds for 2-1.
Yeah, look, I don't want to be saying that Andy's faking anything at all. He isn't faking. It is tremendous how he's even got to this stage. I think a telltale sign will be this next service game. Let's watch the first serve speed, and certainly the second serve. I think there are times when Murray has been, out there on tour. The difference between this first serve and the second serve is quite a disproportionate compared to other tennis players. So that I did notice the last service game, the first serve speed dropped down. Certainly the second serve, when he's not comfortable out there, I think it lands around 130 to 135 Ks, and it gets very spinny into the middle of the box. So that for me is what I'll be looking at this next service game.
How about this for a result? Ben Shelton, who used his passport for the very first time to fly to Australia to take part in the Australian Open, who was 582 in the world this time last year, has come through in straight sets against Alexei Popyrin, 6-3, 7-6, 6-4 to reach the round of 16 at the Australian Open and set up a meeting with fellow American JJ Wolf. There's one hell of an opportunity in this bottom chunk of the draw to reach the quarterfinals. We have Shelton, Wolf, Paul, 3 young American players, and then one of Murray or Roberto Bautista Agut will join them.
Please, ladies and gentlemen, our players are ready.
And Caroline Garcia is 5-3 up in the third, and Sigmund's just trying to hold serve here to ask the question of Garcia. We're going to be going back to Rod Laver Arena soon because Dimitrov is serving to stay in the set, and here Andy Murray is all set to serve at 1-2. Tennis Breakfast on BBC Sounds. A number of ways you can find us. Lovely to have your company with you every day of the Australian Open Championships. Not enough spin to bring the ball down, and again he's semi-doubled over, hobbling around a little bit and back to retrieve the balls.
Yeah, it's in between points, isn't it? And he keeps on leaning over. He's gone back to looking more pained and stiff and heavy-legged as he was in the opening part of this match. I mean, he's certainly in set 2 and at the back end of it when he won it, he looked really quite sprightly.
Love 15, Murray inside the baseline, plays a deep inside-in forehand, then he goes inside-out, then he approaches, he scoops up the half volley, floated cross-court by the Spaniard and wide.
Check the speed clock on those two. The first point, it was a 140k serve, and the second point, it was a 172, I believe. So it is affecting him right now. If he doesn't have that much sting in his legs to get up and hit the serve, that takes away one of the areas for him to win points cheaply. He's carved around
6 minutes and he aces.
Yeah, carves around the outside on that one, and that was when the camera will move into position. I don't think that was really a fast-paced serve.
No, it was more spinny and round the outside.
Yeah.
Real slice serve. But he's so clever, isn't he, at how he uses the weapons that he has.
40-15.
Well, now he's making me look absolutely silly, isn't he?
I wasn't going to say anything.
I think I'm going to take my headset off and go.
Back-to-back
Stop
aces.
laughing, Gigi.
Sorry. I can give you a result to save your blushes. Caroline Garcia through from a set down. The 4 seed comes through 6-3 in the third against Laura Sigmund. Game points for Murray. There it is. Holds to 15. Looks up to his box. Pumps his fist. 2 games all. David, how are things looking on the Rod Laver Arena?
It is very much Novak Djokovic in charge now. 9-7 first set tiebreak. He won and now he's 5-3 up. So serving for a 2 sets to love lead. And if it helps Mark Woodford at all, I remember Brad Gilbert once describing Andy Murray to me as a natural contrarian. So if you say he's going to do something or that he can't do something, he'll do the opposite.
Thank you.
Does that make you feel better, Woody?
Not really.
Nice try, David. Roberto Bautista Agut, he's 34 years of age, has been as high as 9 in the world. He's hitting the backhand now, stepping in, coming forward, playing the backhand volley, back behind Murray, the roar for Murray, the point for the Spaniard.
Well, that's a much more positive way to win the point for Bautista Agut, and we saw so much of this in the first set where he was just moving Murray around, really deep ground strokes, following forward and punching into the open space. How he'd love to have played something like that in that tiebreak to get a 2 sets to love lead. I think he needs to come back to some more of that play if he's going to try and keep on top of Andy Murray, because the more the scoreline gets tight and close, the more that crowd are going to get back involved again. They've gone a little bit quiet now at the beginning of the third set, but you feel that they will get involved if it starts to get really tight.
The approach from Murray, the backhand volley, doesn't rush into the net, stops himself, and it's 15 all.
15 all. I would say ball toss that not really in the same slot that he generally goes with. Bautista Agut was way behind his head.
Yeah.
Bunted on the backhand from Murray. Murray now slices, cuts under that ball. Double hander cross court from Bautista Agut. Double hander cross court again from the Spaniard. Double hander from Murray with a bit more zip. Murray stepping and whips the forehand cross court. The sliding, screeching Spaniard you heard there. Screeching again in the semi-splits. Shortening the angle, Murray. Murray still pummeling the forehand. He tried to switch direction. He wasn't balanced enough. It goes long and we have set points on the Rod Laver Arena.
3 of them for Novak Djokovic. He's down as the 4th seed, but he's the best player in the draw. That much is without doubt. There is a question mark over his fitness at the moment, but he's putting those to bed, really, isn't he? 7-6, 5-3 against a fully fit-looking Grigor Dimitrov. Dimitrov hits his forehand down the centre, moves to his right. Brilliant forehand cross-court by Djokovic. No sign of injury at the moment, and he's marching back to his chair with Serbian flags flying all around. And he leads Grigor Dimitrov by 2 sets to love. Djokovic in charge.
Thank you very much, David. So we'll keep an eye on the games on. We have the 2 singles matches now to focus on. There's still a women's third-round match to come a little bit later after the Djokovic match. On serve here in the third set. 2 games all, 30 all. Big point coming up. Bautista Agut tosses the ball up high and it's chopped back. It's a short ball, the off ball. He's making Murray move. He comes in for the volley. Roberto Bautista Agut. Murray goes for it, slaps at it, but he was off balance. He was falling forward and he wasn't going to find the court.
Smart play from Bautista Agut once again coming forward, and that wasn't quite a straightforward volley that he had to play. It was quite tricky. Same sort of construction of point, but the volley he had to play from below the height of the net, and he cut right underneath it. And Murray was not able to control the passing shot, but it was still an opportunity there. That's why he was biting his fist when he missed that one. It feels like Bautista Agut's been drawn into quite a tricky match now. It's just seems to be getting trickier and trickier, I think.
Murray takes this very early off the second serve. It sits up, bounces up high, a little bit short. Backhand cross court from Murray. Inside out forehand from Bautista Agut, who then goes inside out again because he's running around his backhand. He has to play a double-handed backhand. He nets. The game continues. It is juice in the 5th game of the 3rd set, having split sets here on Tennis Breakfast on BBC Sounds.
I mean, he's working with his
injection.
Looks like he's wearing sort of like shorts that have been sodden wet and kind of like weighted down the way Murray's walking in between points now.
Like he's got rocks in his pockets.
Yeah. But like Mark's saying, you know, in between points he looks terrible, but then when the point is on, he's there.
Murray takes his very early with backhand. He retreats back to the baseline, plays double-handed backhand down the line. He knew where it was going, so he heads to the forehand side, spins it cross-court. Forehand heavy and flat and deep from Roberto Bautista. Agut goes backhand down the other wing. Forehand scooped up. Oh, lovely short angle from Murray. Oh, an amazing angle from Bautista. Agut through the middle of the court. Murray chops up the wall. That sets up nicely for the Spaniard, but Murray is there with a volley. But the Spaniard matches it, finds the open court, wins the point, and once again Murray is down, his left hand clutching his knee.
And still chasing everything. Bautista very fortunate to win that point once again. Great hands up at net by both players, and Bautista just bunting the final volley into the open court. But I think that's the part of the messaging that Andy is almost like trying to get across to Bautista that, yeah, I'm really tired, and maybe try some extra shots or come forward, and you know I'll then pass you.
Game.
There's a hold
Bautista.
for the Spaniard, and then he looks weary once again
please.
as he trudges back to his bench. But I have to say, he's sucking in the oxygen himself, Roberto Bautista Agut. But he does lead. He has the advantage on serve, 3-2 in the third.
Yeah, it was a real trudge as he's gone back to sit down and take on board some drinks as he sits here, and some extra sustenance for Bautista Agut. He just popped something in his mouth, some sort of energy bar or something, but just emotionally draining playing Andy Murray, I can imagine, because there's so much going on all the time down the other end. And I just feel like he's been sucked into the rhythm of the match, which has really helped Andy Murray, despite the fact that he's absolutely exhausted down the other end. He's so clever because he's got so much talent at his disposal, so many layers to his game, so many different ways he can win a point, that, you know, you've got to be on your guard at all times to try and put him away, and it's just not easy.
Now, we've got to up our positivity, people, because Robert Dyer's tweeted, I gave up listening at the end of the first set because you guys were unremitting in your despondency. A little annoyed to have missed the second set.
Well, we laid that out, I thought.
I thought
the first set was handballed over to Bautista, but don't disappear in the second set because Andy would be back in there.
Which you said. You said it would take some time for his body to get going.
Yes, I thought we all had agreed.
No, we had. We were all in agreement. Hopefully Robert is back with us. Michael says,
stay with us.
Saturday morning, soundtracked by Andy Murray, studying for Merchant Navy navigation exams next week. Ooh, good luck with those.
Yes, very good luck.
Please take your seats, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, there's a couple of ladies in the front row. Come on. There we go. Ladies have sat down.
Any seat for now. Thank you.
Oh, other people standing up. 2 hours 15. Where are we? We're 9:30 in the evening local time. And Murray kicks the serve out wide. He follows up down the line, but didn't move his feet, and he nets the forehand.
Shaking his head, chuntering away to his box, and he's just gestured with his hand, one of those, you know, go away kind of gestures. Pulled off that forehand, not quite sure what happened with that one. It was quite a routine ball. He's trying to stand up a little straighter because he's, you know, the more stiff he gets, he starts to lean forward, doesn't he, with his back.
Love 15 2-3 at 5 Live Sports. Get in touch with us. Someone who is listening is Marie. First time celebrating a set being won by Andy Murray while I'm on a train. Got some very strange looks. Well, let's hope there are more sets to celebrate. Although he might be off the train by then. Through the middle of the court goes Bautista Agut. Then he hooks that forehand off his shoelace as it bounces up into the net for Murray, who once again is bending forward.
Yeah, it's like he's trying to stretch out his legs and his back. I know he's smiling a little bit sarcastically and chuntering away to the support camp. They're obviously saying encouraging things, but he doesn't want to hear it at this stage. He just wants to try and get on with it.
Love 30. Sixth game, third set. Tennis Breakfast, BBC Sounds. Murray with the forehand comes forward to the net, plays the backhand for all. What a peach of a volley from Murray.
Sometimes he just has this ability just to, like, extra injection of pace, come forward, little split step, energized legs that time, and a lovely push away, making the game look so easy. I feel like that is his best opportunity tactically, is to keep the points as short as he possibly can.
15-30. Excellent serve. 30 all.
And that was 180, that serve. That has gone up significantly.
30 all.
It sure has, and not out of danger just yet is Murray. See if he can generate some pace on this serve here.
Love 30 down, 30 all. Nets on the first serve. Ballgirl collects, scoots back to alongside the chair, umpire's chair. Nico Hellworth in the chair for this match on the Margaret Court Arena. Serve out wide, forehand cross court, chopped back up the line for Murray, inside out. Oof. This is laser-like striking from the Spaniard, but somehow Murray's defence keeps him in this point. Slaps the forehand cross court, squash shot from Bautista Agut, the cut under the ball off the backhand for Murray. Murray double hand and now bunts it to the double hand across court from Bautista Agut. Redirects it up the line, squash shot and squeaky shoes from the Spaniard. Forehand whipped into the corner, squash shot, squeaky shoes from the Spaniard. High backhand, he just took the pace. It was about the placement. He took the pace off it, placed it in the court, shortened the angle and won the point.
Oh, just amazing tennis, incredible level, and the crowd really appreciating what he's just done there. Just amazing, and now that's a couple of points back to back where he's starting to win them with the volley. But at the end of that point, he looked like he couldn't possibly play another single point after that.
Quiet until the point is over. Thank you.
And he's pushing Bautista Agut defensively so much now. Stunning finish to that rally. Very good backhand volley, and literally leaning over as if, oh my goodness, I cannot put one foot in front of another after that.
That'll be a huge scream if Murray can close out this game. The problem is they're sort of screaming when the play is in progress, but they are quiet and the serve misses out wide.
Even that looked pain, didn't it? I feel like we're watching sort of a boxing clash where he's the one that's putting out some heavy blows, but maybe the referee might come out in a minute and start giving him a count, because he looks absolutely exhausted.
He would keep getting up, he would cling onto those ropes and he would keep standing up, and there's work to do at 2-3 and deuce.
Deuce.
The legs look as heavy as they have looked the entire match right now. I mean, you cannot take your eyes off him, can you, when he's playing? He just draws you into every move that he's making, every point he plays.
I mean, it's agony at times.
Yeah.
Deuce. Serve down the tee. Block back backhand, sits up high, forehand whipped, cross court, stops a little bit short from it. Oh, but he soaked up the power, he absorbed the power, he redirected and he wins the point.
Yeah, and then suddenly light on his feet, hungry, dancing around in between the shot making that he hit there, and then a hammer blow of a forehand. And that's what he's got at his disposal. I mean, this has got to be eating into Bautista Agut's mind out here. He must have thought he had him on the ropes, should have been 2 sets to love up, and now he's in a dogfight out here.
Game point. Serve out wide. The backhand is long. And he can't challenge. He sort of put his finger up and pointed, but it's electronic line calling. There are no line judges. We can see a close call replay, which we are doing now on the electronic screens around the Margaret Court Arena. And you hear the oohs and you hear the ahs, but the upshot is the same. Point one, game one, 3 games all. Meanwhile, news of some action, some changes on the Rod Laver Arena. David Law.
Yeah, Novak Djokovic 2 sets to love up now and 1 game to love in the third as well. He seems pretty relaxed to me overall. I mean, I think he's got the measure of Dimitrov, and I think there's a problem for Dimitrov in that I don't really think he believes he can win. He's won 1 match out of 10 against this guy, and you can't do it if the guy's fully half fit, let alone fully fit, and he's certainly somewhere between the two, I would say, at the moment. Djokovic in total command.
Thank you, David. Now Woody's got his headset on, I can give you some Woody love that's come in from Amanda. Mark Woodford got it so right at the start of the match, and how we need to be patient and let Andy's body get into the match. Hashtag great pundit.
Well, yes, thank you for that little pat on the back there. But yeah, I mean, that's why he turned up. If he felt that he wasn't going to be competitive, I don't think he would have been out here ready to play this match. So there's the value of Andy's 35 years of age, and he's got a great champion in his corner that probably has had similar experiences. And you know, just give yourself a chance. Just try and ride the roller coaster.
He's dragging his limbs to the towel at the side of the court, Annabelle.
Yeah, he really is. But as Woody's been saying all along, in between the points, he looks horrendous, and then he plays and he looks really, really energised.
He seems to be having an energy dip here.
Yeah, and it's when those purple patches do come, it's like a burst of energy where he can be competitive, but then, of course, after that burst, there is the downer that comes, and that was probably right there distinctly in that game. It was a love hold for Bautista.
Yeah, it was very easily done by Roberto Bautista Agut, and the change comes 4-3. Murray, I don't think he's quite made it back to his bench yet, but the Spaniard's already sat down.
Yeah, it's definitely getting more and more dramatic in terms of the body language and how heavy his legs look and how tired. He's definitely let everybody know he feels, and that was a really impressive game from Bautista Agut. And again, you have to admire how he's going about his business here. I think he's shown enormous strength of character, not fazed by anything. He's incredibly focused. Yes, it was very difficult in that second set, but he didn't go away. It would have been easy for him to have that crowd get really on top of him at the end of that second set, but he's come out and he's kept the scoreline as tight as possible, and he's not going away from this match either. And he is, as we've said all the way from the beginning of this match, he is almost the most nightmarish opponent psychologically that Andy could face, because he's not fazed by what was going on down the other end.
Time.
And looking to actually put an impressive year at Grand Slam play. Looking back at last year, lost third round here to Taylor Fritz, but he did not play at Roland Garros. He retired, defaulted in the second round at Wimbledon, and lost first round at the US Open. So this could be a season where, if Bautista can post results similar to this, reaching the third, fourth round of a slam, his ranking is going to rise. Probably we might see him back around the top 15 again.
So there was a real dip from Murray in that last game, dragging himself from side to side, could barely move. Has he re-energized? Has he been able to find anything? Because he's coming from behind in this set, 3-4. They split the first two sets, misses the first serve. Oh, it's seagull time. They have joined us. 9:37 in the evening local time in Melbourne, after what we've been told has been a lovely hot day. Nice flat forehand off the serve from Bautista Agut, who runs around, goes inside out with the forehand. Lovely angle found by the Spaniard. Murray somehow finds the court, but that is just too much for Murray to do.
Amazing hitting and ball striking from Bautista Agut. And he had to play that forehand. It was very Rafa-like, wasn't it, when we see Rafa scampering around his backhand and playing forehands from the other side of the court, and that's exactly what Bautista Agut did. I mean, really amazing footwork, and then a final finish on the forehand. Really looking to impose his game.
How well does Bautista look in that shot? Came across on my screen. He looks like he's refreshed.
Heavy forehand into the corner from Murray. Murray's inside the baseline. He goes drop shot. Here comes the Spaniard, who scoops it over. Murray puts out a racket, but there is Roberto Bautista Agut who elegantly leapt into the air. The backhand volleys it away for love 30.
And I think that underlined what Woody's just said, actually, because that was a pretty tricky drop shot to get underneath, and if he was tired, that would have been a struggle, but he got there quickly, got the racket underneath it, and then a lunging backhand volley to finish that one, which would have really irritated Andy Murray. He hates to come out second best in a rally like that.
Can we get one of the towels?
Oh, it's not the seagulls. I'm hoping it's sweat, not seagulls.
Yeah,
I think it might be seagulls.
Oh, really?
The fans, yeah, they have to have their umbrellas.
I mean, it's quite dangerous when the seagulls get going at this time of night. I think Murray says, just give me the towel and I will remove...
I think it's sweat, isn't it? He's saying, let me do it, but then he's going to hand across a sweaty towel. It's actually quite a nice towel too. That's going to have to be washed now. It's a nice stripy blue and white towel. Quite sort of nautical themed.
Love 30. Sweat or seagull remnants cleaned up. Murray runs around the backhand, goes inside out with the forehand. He comes forward. Should be an easy put away. Is an easy put away, and he's on the board in game 8.
I guess the players, we've seen a lot of them asking for towels to, you know, wipe up the sweat that's been dripping at the back of the court. And sometimes you think, well, you probably could play the point, but you don't want to slip over. But equally, it's just going to give you that extra few seconds, isn't it, in between points.
15:30, serve down the tee, back through the middle of the court, off the shoelaces of Andy Murray. Backhand, cross-court, penetrating backhand from Bautista, who goes inside out with the forehand. The Spaniard plays double-handed backhand. The double-hander, ooh, got that all wrong. Murray misses the court completely, and breakpoint opportunities, the first of this third set, and they go the way of the Spaniard.
Yeah, and that was interesting to see Bautista Agut go straight up the middle of the court, hard and flat. Normally we've been seeing him move Murray around, and actually that was even more of an effort for Murray to get the footwork out of the way from a ball at his body, and that's what drew the error. So that was smart tactics from Bautista Agut.
15:40. Roberto Bautista Agut sways as Murray looking for the tee serve but misses. Back into position, twisting the racket in the right hand, now bouncing the ball with the face of the racket, now bouncing the ball with the left hand, looking down, now up from under his baseball cap, tossing the ball up, serving down the tee again, backhand through the middle, cuts under that ball off the backhand side. Murray, he's cutting under it again, he's slicing, double hand from Bautista Agut, inside in from Murray, it's breakpoint Bautista Agut, forehand up the line from Murray, back down the line from the Spaniard, flick cross court from Murray, screeching down the line and just in from Bautista Agut, goes backhand cross court, the double-handed backhand deep from Murray. Murray with his backhand cross court, not quite as deep, netted from the Spaniard. It took a lot out of Murray, but he comes out on top, and the first break point saved.
30.
Yeah, another extended
40.
rally, wasn't it? A few balls up the middle, really exchanging mental mini battle between the two of them. Just 1 minute short of 2.5 hours on the clock, and it was Bautista Agut who pulled off that last backhand. Intense look in the eyes of Bautista Agut as he shapes up for this next returner serve.
Because he has a second serve to look at, and he has a second break point in his favour. 2.5 hours on the match clock in this third round encounter. Murray settles, reaches, tosses the ball, serves into the body of Bautista Agut, gets a shorter ball, goes off forehand, being very aggressive here, Murray. He's inside the base, he thought about coming forward, but then he retreats backwards, so he's not quite in position, and the Spaniard pushes him back, and the slice cross-court from Murray off the backhand. Murray swivels and goes inside in through the middle of the court. Now forehand cross-court, drops that one short, Murray. It's breakpoint Bautista Agut, up the line goes Murray. Cross-court backhand goes Bautista Agut, down the line goes Murray with his backhand. Forehand cross-court, and long goes the Spaniard. Juice, and the second break point saved.
Yeah, and a clever rally. I mean, yes, you were right. He was putting his foot on the accelerator and really trying an extra injection of pace there, but then also throwing in those slice backhands, which just unsettled the rhythm and got the error out of the forehand side. I mean, he's trudging wearily back to the baseline here to try and get another serve into play. Oh my goodness, it's exhausting even watching this match, isn't it? Can't imagine how he feels.
He's gulping in the oxygen, he's serving, he's missing, he's collapsing into that first serve, looking to find the tee. Glistening with sweat, his opponent. Swaying from side to side, the green top and the white short, steps inside now, plays the backhand to the backhand cross court. That's deep from Murray. Murray steps back into the backhand, drops that in the middle of the court, the forehand cross court. It's Murray making the noise as he hooks that ball, drops it just as he's being moved from side to side. Takes the pace off now of the slice. The backhand down the line for Bautista. Good flip cross court, the forehand. The drop shot from the Spaniard. Here comes Murray. Oh, he's missed it. He has missed it. It floated. It missed the court into the tram lines. He leans down on the butt of his racket, and it's a third break point for the Spaniard.
Advantage.
Well, he's gone back to that really smart tactic where he's moved the ball around at the back of the court and then made it the longest distance for Murray to have to travel with the drop shot. And really cleverly executed. I mean, Murray did so well to get up to it, but just the weariness, and perhaps if he had energy in his legs he wouldn't have missed that ball, but it was just a little bit too much.
Breakpoint number 3 for the Spaniard to go 5-3 up and to serve for the third set. They split the first 2 sets. Another first serve is missed, this time going out wide. Little look up, look down. Starting the routine off the second serve now. Murray reaches up and he serves down the tee. He plays a backhand cross court. It's break point Bautista Agut, who runs around his backhand, goes inside out with the forehand. He's peppering the backhand wing of Murray and back into the backhand wing of Murray. Murray drops that backhand a little bit shorter. Murray redirects, but he nets. Into the net goes Andy Murray, who normally collapses onto the ground. 5-3, the Spaniard leads with the first break after the first break points in this third set, and he will now serve for a 2-1 lead.
Again, great mental stability from Bautista Agut. I mean, the fact that he'd had the break points 50-40, then got pegged back to deuce, and then just doesn't go away. He's there all the time, bringing his level, asking lots of questions of Murray, and just playing some really, really smart, solid, competitive tennis.
24th seed, world number 25, serves out wide, stretches the play. Murray gets back into position, and Roberto Bautista goes back to the backhand, and Murray goes double-handed backhand. Murray then goes back, and he thought he was going line, Bautista Agut, so had to get back into position. The slice now, another backhand played for Murray. Still he peppers the backhand of the Spaniard, and again right into that corner. Does he switch it? No, he just makes the angle even more acute. Then he switches it inside in. The flip cross court from Murray. The pick-up of the shoelaces from the Spaniard was sublime.
I wasn't even sure if that forehand from Murray was in, but if it was right on the back edge of the line, and a really tricky shot for Bautista Agut to make, and he almost half volleyed it. It was an outstanding shot. Have another look at it on the replay. What a point that was. I mean, Murray is throwing everything in the kitchen sink at Bautista Agut. Still wasn't quite enough. Staggering Andy Murray after that.
Yeah, that was a tricky half volley by Bautista. He committed to playing the half volley. Ended up winning the point.
Bautista Agut waits for this high ball to land. Should be able to pick his spot. He does. And he is 2 points from the third set.
He's still going after his shots here, Bautista Agut, making Murray have to stretch as much as he can, and Murray just holding his lower back with his left hand. Weary looking Murray.
Roberto Bautista Agut tosses the ball up now, serves out wide, slapped into the net from Murray. And it's triple set point for the 24th seed to take a 2-1 lead.
And talk about leaving it all out on the court, Mark.
Yeah, certainly both of them are leaving it out there, and right now it's just Bautista is nerves of steel when he's holding serve here.
First set point. Oh, just misses off the return of serve, and that is the third set done. And it goes in favour of Roberto Bautista Agut. His wife Anna, in the front row of his box, is on her feet applauding her man. He closes out the third set by 6-3. And puts even more pressure, Mark Woodford, on a weary-looking Andy Murray, who knows if he's going to get back into the Australian Open fourth round for 11th time, first time since 2017, he will once again need to go the distance.
Yeah, and that's on the change of end, and the discussion that no doubt the internal battle with yourself on the change of ends, and the realization for Andy to think, how it has to be some doubt. Does he really believe that to play another 2 sets? And is it trying to lift his level, Annabelle, or is it trying to bring down Bautista's level?
Yeah, it's hard to know, isn't it? I mean, I think this is multi-layered, this match, isn't it? In terms of the emotions, the tactics keep changing. We're seeing so many different sort of twists and turns, to be honest. But, I just wonder now, psychologically, for Murray, I mean, is he just going to literally go for broke? I mean, he's tried a bit of everything out here, and he's certainly letting everybody know that there isn't a lot left in the tank. And Bautista Agut, as I keep saying, I'm admiring of how he's coped with everything, psychologically, tactically, everything he's put out here on this court. I mean, it's been admirable.
Yeah. It certainly has, and I'm just going to hedge my bets here and think it's really the way forward for Andy. I still believe that he desires, and there is that belief, but he's got to bring down the standard of Bautista. It's almost like he's got to junk him. He's got to, dazzle him with, drop shots, and somehow just get the Spaniards' game to show some cracks. Yeah.
Well, let's see what's in store for us in set number 4. I'll keep an eye on Dimitrov, Djokovic in controllers, leading by 2 sets, 3-love, serving at 15 all. With the commentary of set number 4 here on Tennis Breakfast on BBC Sounds, Annabelle Croft, Mark Woodford and David Law.
Thank you very much, Gigi. And Andy Murray is still sort of stumbling around, if I'm honest, on the baseline. He's looking a bit frustrated about something. But I mean, this has already been an incredible achievement to be standing here in the 3rd round of the Australian Open. Let's not forget that he needed 4 hours and 49 minutes to beat Matteo Berrettini in the 1st round. He needed 5 hours and 45 minutes to beat Thanasi Kokkinakis from 2 sets to love and a breakdown. And he managed to win that in the 2nd round. He's standing here 2 sets to 1 down after another 2 hours and 40 minutes. And he's doing it all at the age of 35, having looked like he was going to retire from the sport 4 years ago against this very man. Now we look back on it, rather an awkward on-court interview with Murray, in which he was shown a retirement video of all of his peers telling him how lovely it had been to share the court with him and spend time on the tour with him, and that they hope to see him around. Well, they've seen him around for the last 4 years because he just refuses to quit. He had hip resurfacing surgery, which was advised to him by Bob Bryan, the doubles player. No singles player had ever done that before and come back and been successful. That means he's got a metal pin in his right hip. And here he is now, fighting it out in the 3rd round, trying to get to the 2nd week of a Grand Slam tournament for the first time since all of the hip problems that started to afflict him. He's been to a couple of 3rd rounds, and this is another one, but it's yet another uphill battle. If anybody can, though, backhand cross-court by Murray. He started to really nail the ball again. Forehand, he comes in behind it. But oh, wow, what a passing shot from Bautista Agut to get to 15 all.
Yeah, that was stunning, wasn't it, David? I think he thought he was going to win that point, Murray, because you're right, he was putting enormous pace on the ball. Trying to thunder, almost intimidate Bautista Agut there, who wasn't having any of it. Beautiful balance on that backhand up the line.
He reached 5 Australian Open finals between 2010 and 2016. He was absolutely at his peak when the hips started to be a problem. He won Wimbledon in 2016. He finished that year as the world #1. ahead of Novak Djokovic, beating Djokovic in the ATP finals to crown himself as world number one. He won Olympic gold that year. He reached 2 other Grand Slam finals as he moves to his right and hits a forehand. These days, challenging for these titles, maybe unlikely, but he still fights. And into the net goes Bautista Agut with a forehand. 30-15 Murray in the first game of the fourth set.
Well, that was what Mark was calling for, some more sort of junky ball tennis and drop shots and real disruptive play, and that's exactly what we got there in that last Murray rally. He seems to be turning around and talking to his camp quite a bit in between every single point now.
(30-15) Murray trails 2 sets to 1. First set, Bautista Agut won in the blink of an eye, 6-1, with Murray looking as though he might not even be able to finish this match, if I'm honest. He went a breakdown in the second set as well. Started to loosen up, started to fight the way he always does. Hits his backhand drop shot, but doesn't clear the net. This is a big point coming up now. 30 all.
He just looks like, you know, the serve, even though he was up 30-15 in this game, now back to 30 all, but really struggling to get the first serve in just because the legs are so heavy and he's falling off, you know, not just some ground strokes, but the serve particularly. And he keeps on sort of stretching out, holding his back. Everything hurts.
Yeah. It does. Not surprising, really, is it? Good serve from him, though. Precise, onto the centre service line, and a point for a first game in the fourth set. And actually, it's a big deal to be serving first here, I think, psychologically, if nothing else.
Thank you. Thank you.
Somebody very excited about something that Bautista did. Here's a big serve out onto the backhand from Bautista, and he hits his backhand cross-court. Bautista Agut. Now he hits his forehand off the back foot. Murray with a chip cross-court, bringing Bautista Agut forward, down, trying to make him pay with a deep backhand. Murray, 40-30 he's got here. This for the first game of the fourth set. Backhand down the centre from him. Now he moves to his left and hits that shot again, but long.
There's a marked contrast in the body language, isn't there? One guy who looks like he's down on the ropes, really. You want to be calling for that referee out, whereas Bautista looks sprightly, amazing footwork, light on his feet, just keeps on coming. He just will not go away. No sign of fatigue down the other end.
This feels like a huge game. First game of the fourth set. Murray trailing back 2 sets to 1. It's deuce. He's missed the first serve out wide. Shake of the head from Murray. Even in all this fog of fatigue, he's just such a perfectionist. He wants to hit lines. He wants to hit the ball like he knows he can. Serves into the body. Backhand blasted back at him by Bautista Agut, who's trying to set up break point, but that's an errant forehand by the Spaniard, Mark. What went wrong there?
I tried to dance around and use the forehand, but I feel like it was in the incorrect direction. And it's such a small target in order for him to win the point. Perhaps that would have been more beneficial for him to extend the point, just hit the off forehand.
Point for the first game for Murray. Serves down the centre, but it clips the top of the net. Djokovic closing in on victory, 2 sets to love and 4-1 up against Grigor Dimitrov. Big serve out wide from Murray. Now backhand down the line. Beautifully stopped. And he holds on, Murray. I mean, in between the points at the moment, he's barely putting foot in front of another. But he's still hanging on. 2 sets to 1 down. A game to love ahead, Gigi.
We've had a busy few moments on the Rod Laver Arena. Grigor Dimitrov was a double breakdown. He got one of the breaks back. He was immediately broken back, so Djokovic sits down at 4-1. The trainer rushes on. The towel goes over the left thigh. There's a little bit of a rub administered. There's some wincing from Novak Djokovic. Time is called, and we resume with Djokovic 2 sets up, 4-1, and love 15.
Thank you, Gigi. Well, Andy Murray has just turned around to some people in the first few rows, and he's looked at them and they have roared at him, and jumped up and punched the air at him, and he's looked around and he's just said, yeah, come on then, let's do it. He's not done yet.
50.
But Roberto Bautista Agut has got something to say about that. Ace down the middle, 15 love.
Yeah, Murray just tried to stretch out his back before that first serve and just lifted up his knee and twisted his back at the same time, but even that looked a little half-hearted because of the pain and the stiffness there.
Wow, that was a thump of a forehand from Murray. I mean, the poor bloke, he looks like his back seized up as he hit that forehand winner away.
For me, Bautista has to try to close this match out, and he has to recognise, be aware that getting an early service break and building the lead rather than seeing this drag out to a lengthy set, where I think the closer this set becomes, the more chance the crowd have of deciding the outcome of the fourth set. So
just as they did in the second set.
Yeah.
And I mean, Murray's adrenaline came into play.
And it's not necessarily the game style of Bautista to step up and win points very quickly behind the server, like a serve and +1. It's about drawing the points out, and boy, Murray might be just trying to hold on to his serve as best he can and see if he can extend this to another close tiebreaker.
Yeah, but he's going to win another point here, get back to 30-all, because Bautista Agut's shanked a backhand cross-court and out.
Yeah, and it's just so difficult, isn't it? You just can't underestimate how tough it is psychologically in this kind of situation, up against the type of competitor that Murray is. And he's right in, you know, a fight here, which he loves, this type of atmosphere and the contest and using the crowd. He's got them on his side. And for Bautista Agut, it's quite hard to keep this concentration up.
What a forehand return by Andy Murray cross-court. That almost knocked Bautista Agut over.
I think for me, Andy, even though he's down 2-1, he's not that far away from actually getting back into this match. And again, I wouldn't be Bautista's shoes at all if this goes to a fifth set. The chaos that will ensue.
Point for Andy Murray. Backhand cross-court from the Spaniard. Chip back at him by Murray, who's on his toes now. Big forehand cross-court from him. He's really ramping up the power now. And he's gone onto the baseline with another backhand. And he pulls that one cross-court. Bautista Agut, break point down, hits his backhand cross-court. Now down the line, forehand cross-court from Murray. Moves to his left. He hits his backhand for all it's worth down the middle. Now he chips one down the centre. He looks like he's almost about to fall over Murray. But he still wins the point. Long goes Bautista Agut. And Murray sort of blows out his cheeks as if to say, oh, that hurt a bit.
Murray leads 2 games to love.
Doesn't matter though, does it? 2-love Murray, 2-1 behind, but he just will not let go.
Well, he really won't, and he's not going to until the very last point is played, and he's doing a good job of shrinking the court down his end. And Bautista Agut, like sort of a fairly passive point there, wasn't able to really inject anything behind it or move him around. But it's nerve-wracking, it's edgy and it's tight for Bautista Agut. Who would have believed it? So 2-love to Andy Murray in this fourth. Extraordinary.
Here's a backhand chip down the centre from Murray. 2-love up now, he leads in this fourth set. Trailing by 2-1, Murray. Chips another forehand deep. This is just like that match they played 4 years ago. As a forehand approach is hit by Bautista Agut and Murray nets his backhand. Berates his feet because they're not moving quickly enough.
It will be a real test. We know that he has a strong character, Bautista Agut, but will he be willing to try and finish points shorter and maybe get to net and test out Murray's reactions? Will he continue to throw the drop shots, which have disappeared? We haven't seen a drop shot to attempt from Bautista for a few games, or at least half a set.
BBC Sounds. Watching Andy Murray. Here's Andy Murray hitting his backhand cross-court. He's 2-love ahead in the fourth set. Trailing by 2-1. Hits his forehand cross-court. Little parried forehand drop shot from Bautista Agut. And he wins the point. Mark Woodford wondered where that drop shot had gone. and you know, he's looked up and he's thought, yeah, Mark, you're right, here we go.
I think he must have heard you, Mark, and I think it was because he was a little bit more positive with the previous shot where he was going closer to the lines, pulling Murray out of position, and then of course he's opened up the angle and then he's enabled to play the drop shot, whereas when he's a bit more passive and they're into those kind of baseline exchanges up the centre of the court or slower paced balls, he's not able to just suddenly pull it out of the bag. But that was a good one.
Love 30, Murray. Serves out wide onto the forehand, hits his forehand down the line, comes in behind it, plays a forehand volley beautifully. Bautista will reach it, but he won't get it back in court. There's so much in common, this run, with Jimmy Connors back in 1991 at the US Open when he beat Patrick McEnroe in 5 sets from 2 sets to love down in the first round in the middle of the night. And then he beat Aaron Crickstein in a match that they still play during rain delays. 35 years on. As Andy Murray wins another point and gets to 30 all at 2 games to love. And during that run that Connors had, aged 39, another former champion, Ilie Nastase, said, Jimmy's got what we all want. Just one more time. Big serve down the centre from Murray. Drives the forehand volley but misses.
Oh, what a shame that was. I mean, having worked so hard to be at 30 all in this game, had the point. That was the easiest shot of the entire game so far. Right in the centre. Maybe just lost his concentration, or did he think that Bautista was going to take that one down? Tried to go closer to the line. Fuming with himself.
Break back point for Bautista Agut. Murray serves down the centre onto the forehand. Hits his forehand behind it onto the backhand of Bautista Agut. Slice backhand down the middle from Murray. And he'll hit the 2 hands now on that shot cross court. Miscued backhand on forced error by Bautista Agut to get back to juice. Mark, that is surprising.
So is that a sign that there are cracks? A crack has already appeared, given that he lost his serve, but is it starting to just creep in a few more unforced errors? That was an opportunity that has slipped by for Bautista.
6-1 Bautista Agut first set, 7-6 Murray second set, 6-3 Bautista Agut third set. 2 sets to 1 he leads. But Murray has the break. 2-love.
I was looking at the unforced error count. It's 24 for Bautista Agut and 44 for Andy Murray at the moment. Very few in that first set.
Swinging serve by Murray on the back foot. He hits a forehand cross court at an extraordinary angle. Now the court opens up for him to go down the line, but Bautista Agut reads it. Now he'll hit a backhand down the line and turn the tables in the rally, but Murray with a big forehand cross court wide. Break point again for the Spaniard.
Advantage. Bautista Agut.
Can Murray dig himself out of trouble in this game? Advantage to his opponent to get back on serve. Murray misses out wide. This is the 3rd round of the Australian Open. Murray trying to get into the 2nd week of a Grand Slam tournament for the first time in 6 years. Here's a backhand for him that he hits cross court. And now he moves to his left and hits a 2-handed backhand down the middle. He's hitting the ball firmly, very sweetly, Murray, at the moment. Hits the forehand off the back foot there because the sweet hitting is also coming from the other end. Here's a forehand whipped by Bautista Agut. Murray explodes into a forehand with more velocity cross court. Now a backhand that just clears the net. That's where you heard the U's and the R's. Forehand cross court from Bautista Agut, who has break back point here. What a rally. Here's a forehand parried by Murray on the defence. Now he'll hit another one of those, just slow balling Bautista Agut until he goes into a backhand cross court with 2 hands. Now a big forehand by Murray, but he's gone long and he is broken back, and finally the resolve is broken, at least for this game.
Murray leads 2 games
How
to 1.
impressive was that from Bautista Agut? He just will not miss, will he, in those positions? 20 minutes in this set now. 2-1 Murray back on serve. He trails by 2-1. Mark Woodford.
Oh, as you said, David, magnificent hitting from Murray's end of the court. That ball speed is back up his end of the court, but he just could not find anywhere to penetrate the defense of Bautista Agut. Equilibrium restored as far as the Spaniard goes. Feeling maybe a little better, a little calmer on this change of ends.
So, Gigi, we have Andy Murray trailing by 2-1, leading by 2 games to 1. What about Novak Djokovic and Grigor Dimitrov?
Well, this is not done just yet. Novak Djokovic twice has had a double break in this third set. It is once again reduced to just a single break of serve. I mentioned the trainer came out and gave that left thigh, the hamstring, a bit of a rub. Djokovic is munching on something that he has in his bag, and he suddenly looks exhausted, while Grigor Dimitrov looks like a spring chicken. We're at a rest at the moment, 4-3 in favour of Djokovic, so still with the advantage. He's going to step up to serve shortly. Dimitrov the more sprightly of the two at the moment, but Djokovic still with the all-important break, remembering that he leads by 2-0. So I will keep a close eye on events out here on the Rod Laver Arena for you.
Thank you, Gigi. Well, Andy Murray's got to do it the hard way, yet again. It's the only way he knows. And he will not shirk the challenge. Whether he's got enough left is another matter, Mark, but they'll have to carry him out.
Yeah, and I think that he's prepared for that to happen. I think sometimes the visual on the players' faces give us, you know, an impression, some idea, and he looked not too bad there, Andy, winning the first point.
What is very similar from the other night is he, in the last 2 sets against Kokkinakis, suddenly he started to really time the ball. And he's finding a similar feel on the ball right now, I would say.
Yeah.
Not maybe moving as well, but certainly in terms of the thumping backhands and forehands he's hitting, and nice drop shots too. As a player right now, Andy Murray is playing some seriously good stuff. 2-1 behind he is. Hits his backhand cross court, but he's netted that. 2-1 up he is still. 15 all.
I think it also highlights for me, David, that the layers to Andy Murray's game. You know, he might have a game plan A, and that is a B and a C, and it's just trying to utilize the weapons that he has available to him. I think with Lendl back on his side, trying to improve the ball striking, certainly off the forehand wing.
Yeah, that's very clear, isn't it? And all 3 parts of the relationship they've had, as we see a very nice looking forehand hit away by Bautista Agut to get to 30-15. You know, this is the 3rd time Andy Murray's worked with Ivan Lendl. He helped him to his first Grand Slam title at the US Open, Olympic gold, Wimbledon title in 2013. Then they separated for a while, came back on board, helped him to 2016 triumph at Wimbledon and world #1 status as Bautista Agut hits a big forehand away. But consistent through all of that was Lendl wanted to see him use that forehand as a weapon.
Yep, serve, forehand, and probably maybe be willing to take the second serve return on. Andy's one of the great returners in our sport. Sees the ball nice and early. He can compact the swing, and it has paid dividends. He's seeing if he can attack this second serve.
Goodness me, he went after that forehand, Murray. Drop shots now. Here comes Bautista Agut, reaches it and does a very nice job of rolling it down the line for a winner. So he holds on.
2 games all, 4 sets.
And actually, those of us with long enough memories and grey enough hair to remember Ivan Lendl playing the sport will remember that he used to go after his forehand as well.
Oh, was it ever a forehand that was struck at anything short? You knew that he was going to be moving around and having a crack at the forehand. And boy, if you were a person that did not hit a volley that landed short, you would expect the ball to be torpedoed into your guts.
and done with a smile as well, because he genuinely enjoyed doing it.
Exactly. I think that's what annoyed him about some of the Australian players, though. We were kind of aware of it and were quick enough to reflex that volley. He's tagged his fair share of players in his career.
Murray hitting a big forehand down the line, winner away. And
could you pick that up, please?
I do remember in 2013 when Andy Murray took part in a charity benefit match at the Queen's Club called Rally Against Cancer in support of his good friend Ross Hutchins, who was suffering. Here's a backhand chip cross-court by Bautista, very delicately done. Gets him back to 15 all on the Murray serve at 2 games all in the 4th set, 2-1 Bautista. Murray played an exhibition doubles match alongside Tim Henman, and one of the opponents was Ivan Lendl, his coach. And he celebrated more, Murray, when he smashed the ball into Lendl's chest than he did when he won the Queen's title.
I picture it right now.
He was so happy. Here's a backhand cross-court from Murray, who runs around and swipes an inside-out forehand at 15 all, and he comes in, plays a low half volley, and delicately done, but too delicately, into the net. That was wonderful anticipation from Bautista to just drop the ball difficultly at the feet of the incoming Murray.
Yeah, David, it's a really important game here for Andy Murray. Trying to deal mentally and physically. We know that battle is there, but the fact that he's surrendered his break and he's in a spot of bother right now. This match could move quickly in the hands of Bautista on the outcome of this game.
Thanks, Murray, just in the nick of time.
30 all.
And he shoots a look over at Lendl, and he shakes his head as if to say, I'm going nowhere.
7 aces. 4 from Bautista.
2 games all, 30 all, Murray serves.
Let for serve.
Clipped the top of the net, that serve. Novak Djokovic closing in on victory against Grigor Dimitrov on the Rod Laver Arena. Andy Murray. The seagulls swirl overhead. Hits his forehand on the line and comes in. Murray, beautifully done. He's got an overhead to put away here at an acute angle, and he does so. And Murray moves to within a point of a 3-2 lead.
40-30.
Point set up with a well-placed serve, and he backed himself by coming forward, Murray.
2 games all, 40-30 Murray, crashes his serve down, follows it up with a forehand down the centre. He's really going after his shots now, because he has to. He has to keep the point shorter if he can against this metronome from Spain, who comes in behind his backhand. Murray lifts a lob, Bautista smashes, Murray's still going. Backhands onto the baseline. Now he hits another backhand cross-court. Backhand cross-court by Bautista Agut. He has a huge one that he hits down the line. Murray scoops it back. But then a wonderful cross-court forehand by Bautista Agut to get back to deuce, and that was torture for Andy Murray.
Yes.
And yeah, he was trying to torture Bautista. Strong ground play from Andy Murray, but it was Bautista who put the foot on the accelerator, responding well in the last 2 or 3 strikes, and the forehand winner brings it back to deuce.
2 games all, deuce. Murray serves down the centre. Now drops shots on the forehand. In comes Bautista Agut, drop shots in kind, but Murray's there, goes down the line. Lob lifted from Bautista Agut, is in. How good was that?
And then Bautista Agut.
They're going to have oxygen tanks on the change of ends here, David. The amount of running that both players in that last point.
Wow. Can Murray keep him off? 2 games all. 4th set, he trails 2-1. Advantage, Bautista, Agut, and Murray again really struggling to get any sort of lift into the serve at the moment. Those aching legs of his after 13.5 sets of tennis in 3 matches. Serves onto the service line. Oh, just back edge of the service line from Murray, and Bautista got nets, and hearts were in their mouths all around the stadium as Murray levels the juice.
One of the best second serves that he has sent down. Couldn't come at a more opportune time for him to survival. If he just rolls the serve in, Bautista is all over the returner serve.
2-2 and juice. Murray swings the serve out wide in the acute angle. He has the whole court to blame into, and he instead wrong foots Bautista Agut and points at someone in the crowd, and he's roaring Murray. How many more times can he come back?
Let's first serve.
Murray heads the loose ball away, and that's why people were laughing, but the was all because he'd hit what was looking like a perfect serve onto the line, and it must have clipped the top of the net, and the little beeper that the umpire gets access to went off to say it had hit the net, and Murray has to do it all over again. This one he sends down the centre, follows it up with a backhand on the line. Murray, it's advantage to him for a 3-2 lead in the 4th set. He trails by 2-1. Murray with a forehand on the line now, backhand on the line by Bautista Agut. It's like 2 World Championship fighters just hammering each other toe to toe. Backhand cross court by Murray, and he points again at someone in the crowd and clenches the fist.
Murray leads 3-2. 4th set, 4
Well. Judy Murray, his mum, is clapping her hands together. She is beaming with pride. I don't know what she feels like. She must be going through such agony. She's told us so many times that she does, but also just pulsing with pride out there because her son keeps on coming back for more. 2-1 Bautista Agut, 3-2 Murray now, Gigi. What about Novak Djokovic?
Looking to bring up match points. The backhand from Dimitrov cross courts, the double-hander flat onto the angle, onto the sideline. Djokovic, who spins around, goes inside in. He's stretching the Bulgarian, who hooks it cross court, forehand up the line. Dimitrov gets there with his backhand into the centre of the court goes Djokovic. Djokovic now the forehand cross. You can hear the energy from Djokovic as he slams that ball cross court. He has to get into a backhand position. 3 hours and 5 minutes. 5-4, 30-15. Short ball. Djokovic into the corner. He reads it. Dimitrov. He doesn't get it. Djokovic is in pain. He's exhausted, but he's asking the crowd to give him some more, to get him over this finish line. He is not comfortable. He is feeling uncomfortable, but after a 31-shot rally, Novak Djokovic, the 9-time champion, has match points. 7-6, 6-3, 5-4, 40-15. So the first of 2 match points to come, and I think both players using an extra few seconds, both sucking in the oxygen. Mouth open, Dimitrov keeping those legs moving. Djokovic up to the baseline, looking to book his place in the round of 16 in a meeting with the Australian Alex de Minaur. Djokovic puffs out his cheeks. Starts the service motion at 5-4. Hopes the crowd will settle. And now he winds himself up, serves down the tee, blocked back on the backhand side. Djokovic with the forehand, flips it cross court. It's very deep from Dimitrov. Dimitrov spins it and it's wide, and it is game, set and match to the 9-time champion Novak Djokovic. All is still not entirely well with that leg, but he's fought and he's battled and he's come through again. A really nice embrace at the net, but David, it is Novak Djokovic who books his place in the round of 16 with a 7-6, 6-3, 6-4, 3 hour and 6 minute victory on the Rod Laver Arena.
Yeah, that one mattered to Novak Djokovic. They all matter, but he's fighting the elements, he's fighting his body. And talking about fighting bodies, Andy Murray's fighting his, as he has been all week long. Really, for the last few years. Here's Bautista Agut with an easy forehand put away that he moves to 40 love on his serve as he tries to level up at 3 games all here in the 4th set. Bautista Agut's 2-1 ahead. Annabel Croft back with us, and which way next? It's just swinging back and forth.
It really is. It's so difficult to call, isn't it? Because you just don't know with the fluctuations of his body and the energy of the crowd whether he's just going to suddenly get another kind of lift. I mean, it looks like he can hardly put one foot in front of the other, and then suddenly he'll start like firing up and getting up on his toes and moving in between points.
Tell you what, that was a heck of a game that Roberto Bautista Agut just played. Andy Murray got up from his chair, 3-2 up. He started looking at people in the crowd and pointing at them and clenching his fist and engaging. And the place is on its feet. And what happens? Bautista Agut just takes the balls and serves out to love in a minute, a single minute. Here's the backhand chip cross court from him. 3 games all, Murray nets the forehand, and these are danger moments for him again.
Yeah, he's pulling off a lot of the ground strokes, isn't he? And then collapsing after he's hit them and trudging and then shaking his head. He's smiling rather sarcastically back towards his team.
Love 15, Murray, 3-all. Serves out wide. Misses. How much more can he take? Nearly 5 hours against Matteo Berrettini. 5 hours 45 minutes 2 days later against Thanasi Kokkinakis at 4:05 a.m. Here he is less than 2 days later, going deep into a 4th hour against Roberto Bautista Agut. Murray now 2-1 behind and 3 games all. He smacks a forehand at love 15 and then another one.
Well, David, I'm watching his movement in between the strikes, and actually, sometimes he just gets energized and he starts to use his legs, which is such a big part of how he plays his tennis, and he's up on the toes, and then when he's hitting the shots, he's really striking through the center of the ball, and he's just getting that timing very, very sweet. When he plays points like that and he's bossing them, you kind of think, well, just maybe he still can win this match.
Yep, Annabel Croft here with us as Andy Murray comes in and puts a forehand volley away to move to 30-15. Mark Woodford, multiple Grand Slam doubles champion, is here with us on 5 Sports Extra and BBC Sounds.
And continuing to defy. How much can he push more and more? I mean, it is just stressful even just watching this unfold.
Yes. Massive forehand, Murray comes in, smashes, but it goes straight back to Bautista Agut, and then Murray pounces on the loose ball, and he's shaking his racket in his hand. A man with a bandana, a Scottish coloured bandana, is nodding his head, and Murray's walking over in his direction, and he's nodding his head because he believes he can turn this around.
Yeah, and it's these moments that it's why he's still out there playing, pushing himself to the physical limits.
3-all and 40-15 Murray. This is the first serve down the centre. Seagulls are into it. Serves into the body, does Murray. Hits his forehand down the line. It's an absolutely blistering clean winner.
Murray leads 4-3.
Don't know how he's doing this. Wonder how many times I've said that over the last 18 years. Extraordinary. 4-3, Andy Murray leads in the 4th set as he tries to come back again. Mark Woodford.
Well, the further this goes, this 4th set, and the closer, the neck and neck between these two is very little that's separating them right now. I think the advantage does lie with Andy Murray, Annabel.
I feel the same way, to be honest. I'm sitting here thinking, you know, if it was the kind of tennis that we saw in set one, where it was exhaustion down the other end, which has been kind of for pretty much the whole match, but real clinical ball striking, finishes of execution with winners into the corner, outmanoeuvring him, you know, a few coming forward and finishing at the net, the drop shots that we've talked about with Bautista Agut, very much in control in the driving seat, and you just thought, well, this is going to be actually quite swift and one-way traffic, and this has just all been too much for Andy Murray. But it doesn't feel like that right now. It feels like you've said, it feels very evenly matched. It feels when you've got a crowd that's like this, a football crowd or a Davis Cup crowd that are so behind him, giving him extra energy, and that's just piling on the pressure for Bautista Agut. If he blinks, then Murray has a shot, and this crowd want a fifth set, don't they? And then if they went to a fifth set, I think I'd be with Murray, and he's now trotting and skipping and just looks energized. He's ready for this next game.
Ready for play. Thank you.
I mean, seriously, Murray has just come, as Annabelle said, skipping out of his chair, windmilling his arms, whipping this crowd into a frenzy. He trails 2-1. He leads 4-3, Murray, in the fourth set. He hits his forehand return down the middle. Suddenly there's energy in those limbs as he hits his backhand cross court. Moves to his right and hits his forehand, lofts it with topspin. Now long goes Bautista Agut. And even this man with such an iron will and composure is suddenly starting to crack.
It's mental energy, isn't it? Because the body's clearly absolutely hurting in every single ounce of his flesh. But, you know, the mental energy that he applies to every single point, he's there, and it's almost like it's forgotten.
Murray hits his backhand return down the centre. He scoops back a backhand which will drop long. Very cleverly played by Bautista Agut behind Murray, so he had to turn around quickly and he couldn't adjust.
There's two sides of the reaction for Murray. He jumped out, danced out to start the game, and yet on that point he could barely take a step to get back into position to return this point.
Backhand chip down the centre by Murray, and inside out forehand is blasted wide by Bautista Agut. This is 15-30.
And now each point that Bautista loses, that it's amplified even more, the importance of it, given that he's down 3-4. It's now 15-30.
Can Murray set up break point? Forehand down the centre from him. Backhand crashed cross court. Bautista Agut gets it back, but this is huge hitting from Murray. He's gone for just a bit too much though, and he's gone long.
He's actually playing the better tennis, isn't he, Mark?
Yeah. I like that he went for the forehand. That's the shot that will win him the point.
I feel like he's playing the more sort of, I don't know, the better construction at the moment, the more dangerous tennis, I would say, is coming out of Murray's racket.
40-30.
Good, quiet, consistent serving from Bautista Agut. Clinical, just to keep the crowd down and out of it for a couple of points.
If he can, the quiet achiever.
Took the words out of my mouth. I was just going to say he, from his perspective, needs to take this crowd out as much as he can and silence them with good tennis.
Huge serve by Bautista Agut. That was so impressive. 15-30 down. Murray crashing the ball at him and whipping up the crowd into a frenzy. And he holds his nerve for 4 games all. And it's over to you, Andy Murray. Well, whatever happens from here, this has been an absolute privilege to talk about, to bring to you here on BBC Radio 5 Sports Extra, on the BBC Sounds app, on the BBC Sport website, where we have our live commentary going on, our written commentary, which so many of you are able to follow. Hashtag BBC Tennis if you want to let us know what you're up to whilst listening to this and how you're feeling right now. Whether you think Andy Murray can get the job done. Can he get over the line from 2-1 down and 4 games all, having already had 10.5 hours of matches leading into this. Backhand punch down the line by Murray. He's underneath the lob. That's going to drop in, and it's the second time he's been caught out by a lob.
I like it.
Go on, Mark, you go ahead.
I was going to say, Annabelle, I like the fact that he is proactively trying to win the point. Unfortunately, the volley went forward to it, but that weight of moving forward, he didn't put the ball away with the volley, and he's stuck and can't go back and chase that one, unfortunately. His body just won't let him.
No, I agree with you. It's a little bit similar to that Berrettini match, where the longer the match went on and the points and the level and quality of the tennis was going up and up and up, it's sort of got that same feel about it, that Murray looks to be getting stronger with his physicality in the points, not in between the points, but in the points. I feel like he's getting better.
Love 15 on the Murray serve. Backhand off the back foot. This is great hitting from Bautista, who takes charge with a cross-court forehand, as if to say, I've had enough of being pushed around by you. I'm going to take over. 4 games all. Love 30 on the Murray serve now. He's in a trough.
And how remarkable for Bautista to swoop onto that ball that's mid-court. He's not at his very best when he transitions from the baseline up to the net, but he took care of that and now stands at love 30.
Needed a big serve. He finds a half-decent one, Murray, but he's gone along with the forehand, and now he's in real trouble.
14.
Where have these 3 points just suddenly come from? And again, great strength of character from Bautista Agut. Never wavering, has he? You think just a few moments ago, 15-30, we thought we were definitely potentially heading into a 5th set. All of a sudden, Murray in big trouble here.
Spellbinding stuff from Bautista Agut to set up 3 break points. And if he takes any one of them, he will be serving for the match to knock out Andy Murray, finally, from this Australian Open. But not just yet. Murray serves onto the backhand, it just clips the top of the net, and goodness me, that was so nearly a double fault.
Yeah, he collapsed into that second serve, didn't he?
Second serve is rolled in by Murray. He now has a backhand tip down the middle. Love 40 down, break points down, and he's gone long. And Bautista Agut gives you a vamos, because he thinks that might be it. He's 2 sets to 1 up. He's 5-4 up after this extraordinary tug of war, and he will come out after a sit down to serve for this match against Andy Murray. Well.
Oh my goodness, what entertainment.
That was something else, wasn't it, from Bautista Agut? I mean, you've got to give him enormous credit for withstanding what he's had to deal with the crowd, with Murray coming at him. And as you said, Annabelle, from 15-30 down on his own serve, he's just played lights-out tennis.
Yeah, he really has, and served so beautifully to finish off that previous game. And then the way he came out of the blocks and very quickly reset to try and go for a quick break there. He was striking the ball with authority, the forehand winner on the second point cross-court. I mean, he's just applied himself so incredibly well, and I feel like he's been very, very well prepared mentally for what this match was going to be. He would have known and expected the crowd to be completely against him. He had that experience from 2019, which would have held him in great stead. All those Davis Cup ties, which we've always said this, haven't we, Mark, that they're so important to develop players for that mental strength to cope with a crowd like this, whether it's for you or against you. And I feel like he's drawing upon all of that experience to be able to play this match against Andy Murray today.
Without a doubt, and he is 4 points away from clinching this historic match with Murray.
Murray chips his backhand return on the centre. What's he got left? Forehand return is deep from him. That was a good strike from Murray. Now a backhand chip cross-court. He's a break down. He's 2 sets to 1 down. He's trying to break serve here to find a way back into the match. And he hits a forehand winner.
Central ball from Bautista Agut, not trying to do too much with that ball, and he paid the price. Murray has that ability just to really go after the ball with weight and accuracy. After he hit that, Murray sort of trotted forward, didn't he? I don't think he wants to stop too abruptly on the court at the moment because it's too painful.
Yes, that's right. Here's a blocked forehand by Murray, and now a little chip down the centre with that shot. He's trying to entice an error perhaps from Bautista Agut, who just won't give it to him. Love 15 he has on his serve. Backhand cross court from Bautista Agut. The crowd thought it was out, but it wasn't. Here's an out one though, and Murray's got himself to love 30.
Love 30.
And I think Bautista just a little annoyed. Yep.
Once again, wait till you cheer until the point is over. Thank you.
Hit a ball that was close to the line. Bautista feels like that he was distracted with the final backhand that he lofted long.
Yeah, it's not easy, is it, for Bautista Agut? I mean, he's trying his best to concentrate on hitting forehands and backhands, but the crowd just can't hold it back. They so desperately want Andy Murray's shots to go in and the Spaniards to go out. I know it's harsh, but that's the reality.
Let's Professor.
Goodness me, the U's and the R's are because that was a let serve, so Bautista Agut clipped the top of the net with it and have to do it all over again, but Andy Murray hit an absolutely screaming cross-court winner off a ball that didn't matter. This to get back to 3 break points for Murray. His return drops in. Now a forehand on the line by Bautista Agut, who hits his backhand cross-court. Murray chips another backhand down the centre. He's just slow-balling Bautista Agut at the moment, almost saying, come on, let's see if you can keep these in. And then a forehand netted by Murray.
Yeah, it really looks like he is slow-balling him and forcing him to have to generate the pace in these rallies. And when you're a little bit tight and edgy, it sort of puts you into your shell a little bit, and it's quite hard to suddenly come up with those big booming forehands inside out that Bautista has played so effectively in this match. So his heart must be racing quite a bit in this moment in the match.
This is the Australian Open with Andy Murray, who's already had 2 5-set epics, trying to force another. He chips his backhand return down the middle. Forehand cross-court by Bautista Agut is absolutely brilliant. Murray lifts a lob. It's going to land just in, but it'll sit up for Bautista Agut to smash away and get back to 30 all. And Murray almost collapses into the advertising hoardings on the side of the court. And he's 2 points away from defeat, finally.
What he's saying there, he's sort of tapping his left wrist and shouting at the umpire.
I'm not entirely sure what Murray's gripe is here.
Left wrist, I'm not sure what that was.
If we heard a little bit of bad language there, I'm not sure whether we did, but if we did, I'll apologise just in case. 2-1 Murray trails. 5-4, he's behind as well. 30 all. Bautista Agut trying to set up match point here, but Murray's backhand lands in. Big forehand cross court from Murray lands out though. And this is match point. After 3 hours and 28 minutes in this match, and 14 hours in total in just 3 matches, Andy Murray's heroic Australian Open could be about to come to an end. Roberto Bautista Agut of Spain has match point. He tries to serve an ace out wide, but it missed.
Wow, that was
Murray.
brave, wasn't it?
Murray stands there and says, you're going to have to knock me out. He hits his backhand return into the net, and finally Bautista Agut roars in celebration. He lets out all the frustration, and Murray's Australian Open ends. It was the most astonishing run. How Murray came back to win those 2 5-set epics, I'll never know. And to make a fight of this when he was falling apart physically. But this is one we will remember for a long, long time from Andy Murray. But ultimately it ends in defeat against a very, very impressive man from Spain. Not Rafael Nadal this time, but Roberto Bautista Agut, who had to withstand so much and listen to that ovation for Andy Murray, who's packing his stuff up here now. And when he finally departs this scene, I tell you, you're going to have to cover your ears. Mark Woodford, what a match, what a performance from both players.
Well, I'm not surprised to see Bautista sitting down with the victory in the end, given the circumstances surrounding this particular match, and for Andy Murray's, well, the time that he has spent getting to the 3rd round. even without the length of time, this was going to be a real test for Andy Murray. But he certainly was beaten by a man who he pushed and he prodded and he tried to unsettle with his game.
Did everything, didn't he? Did everything he possibly could.
Everything into that match, and I mean, amazing effort by Bautista Agut.
Yeah, it sure was. So impressive, resolute in the face of bedlam on that court, and it was a pretty cool handshake between these two. I've got to say, I think Bautista Agut was a bit fed up of the crowd and the occasion and the situation by then. And Andy Murray, listen to this as he departs. Mum Judy's part of that ovation. Andy Murray turns and applauds and waves and puts his thumb up. He looks a little forlorn, a little sad that it's all come to an end. But when he looks back on this run, he'll surely do so with enormous pride, because that was just incredible what he has achieved over the last few days. To play 14 hours of tennis in 3 matches in 6 days and still put up a showing like that, absolutely spellbinding. And that's why he is one of the greatest fighters this sport has ever known, and certainly one of the greatest British sports people the country has ever had. Roberto Bautista Agut, though, hats off to him. We're going to hear from him here on BBC Sounds after that epic match.
Roberto, sometimes in sport, in a one-on-one situation, there is a lot of drama, huh? That was a dramatic match tonight.
Always playing Andy on a slam it's very tough, so he knows the game very well. He knows very well how to play a Grand Slam match, so I'm very happy about how I managed all the nerves and all the tension during all the match, and I could play very good tennis, and I'm very happy about the win.
Well done. Look, I think most players face situations sometimes. There is also a lot of love for you here. You know that, don't you?
Well, today was a lot of love for Andy, I think.
You are a very understanding man.
Maybe next round a little bit more for me.
Well, we know you're a great champion too, Roberto. This is the 13th time you've reached the 4th round of a major championship. You have to be a great player to do that.
Thank you.
And you've been in the quarterfinals before here, so that's a goal to get there and maybe a bit further. You have a chance this year.
Of course, I'm feeling well on the court. I think I'm competing well. I'm doing everything I can outside the court to try to play good matches. And today, obviously, was very tough, but in my way, I could enjoy the match, the atmosphere, to play a big match in a slam. So that makes. That means that I'm doing good things outside, so I think I'm prepared to play a good match on the next round.
Okay, well, thank you for your understanding, your class, and your great play. Well done.
That was a lovely ovation for Roberto Bautista Agut and his wife Anna, a beaming smile on her face. And Woody, it must have been really tough during that. Annabelle and I were just chatting and remembering back to 2019, where he was the villain of the piece with everything that was going on. And once again today, but mentally how strong he stood in adversity to be able to navigate his way through.
Probably not, it's not an odd thing to see him survive and play with not only the physicality that was thrown at him, but to survive mentally. When you've got, like a lot of the Spanish players have lived in the shadow of the great one, Rafael Nadal, and they get to spend time with him, certainly in team competitions like Davis Cup, and so I think it's almost like a given that a lot of the players from Spain, Alcaraz seems like he will take on that mantle to be so strong in these crucial matches. They seem to play the big points well. They know how to handle the situation, and I mean, it really was breathtaking tennis, not just by Bautista Agut, but for Andy to conjure up, and give himself a real chance of winning that one.
We've seen Andy Murray just make his way, that sort of lopsided semi-limp / walk into the changing rooms. David Law, was that a goodbye to Melbourne from Andy Murray?
I don't think so. I mean, I didn't. That's not what went through my head. But I mean, it could be. He may well not play here again. I think he definitely intends to play a full year this year. But I guess when you're at the age he is, with all he's been through with his body, the chances are certainly possible that he may get to the end of the year and think, do I really want to do that again? Do I really want to be away from my kids this much? He's just spent several weeks in the off-season just in the company of Ivan Lendl. I'm sure that's very nice, but it's not at home with his 4 kids. So it does take an awful lot. But I would also think that maybe what he's just done the last 6 days has encouraged him and made him remember what he loves about the sport. A lovely reminder of all that he's doing this for, and he's actually played some really good stuff. He's beaten Matteo Berrettini, a Wimbledon runner-up from a couple of years ago. He's had some incredible moments, but look, it's got to stop sometime, hasn't it? And it could be his last one. I'm not sure. I don't think that's what he was doing there. I think he was just saying goodbye and thank you, but time will tell.
Because Annabelle, we know how much he loves the sport, that desire of his to come through everything he's come through to go back. It's more physically, how much more can his body actually take? How much more can he actually put his body through?
Yeah, I'm not sure, because only he knows how his body feels and the work that it takes, and he has talked about that a little bit. Every single aspect of his day is towards how he can prepare for the matches. It's boring, isn't it, to keep going through all the physio and all the routine, and every single ounce of energy and the day goes into being utterly professional and leaving no stone unturned. He said how important it was going to bed early and sleeping, and then the hydration and the food, and then of course the physio and the fitness training and everything he's doing to prepare himself to get out onto the tour. And I think when you think his ranking at the start of last year was 134, and only last week he was ranked at 49th in the world, for a lot of players they never reach top 50 in the world. So the fact that he beat Kyrgios, who was in the finals of Wimbledon last year, he beat Tsitsipas last year, now he's beaten Berrettini, he's also been in the finals. In his head, he's thinking, well, I'm still challenging all these very best in the world who are close to winning slams. So why should I not just keep playing? And I hear from people within his team that he never wants to look back at what's been before. He doesn't want people to say to him, but you're a 3-time Grand Slam champion, you've achieved so much, why are you putting yourself through this? All he wants to do is look forward and think about what he can achieve and where he might go. But I think it's unlucky, isn't it, when you're in a Grand Slam, and I guess he didn't quite have the ranking that avoided a seed early on. So had he just been able to get his ranking, the fact that he played Berrettini so early in the championships was a little bit unlucky. And so that in itself, the fact that he went so long in that match, then Kokonakis, that takes its toll in the Grand Slam. So by the time he got to the 3rd round, it's also what he said, Gigi, wasn't it? I'm ready to play a top player earlier in the event, because he knew if he got through to the 3rd round and then played a top player, it would have been even more difficult. But my goodness, what entertainment he's given this crowd. I mean, he's like a rock star. He doesn't want to get off the stage. Why should he? He clearly enjoys it, doesn't he?
It's quite extraordinary what he's done over the course of the first 6 days of this Australian Open. What a week it has been. Annabelle Croft, thank you very much for your time today. Mark Woodford, enjoy your Saturday. Is it Saturday? Enjoy your Saturday evening Melbourne.
Yes.
Do you have any plans? Yep. Seeing more sort of school friends or Elaine Page concerts, anything lined up?
Who, by the way, I passed on the message and they send their very best. And,
lovely.
Back to you, Gigi. But no, it is time to hit the sheets and recover for tomorrow.
Marvellous. Well, we look forward to your company once again. And David Law, thank you very much.
Thank you. It's been an absolute pleasure to commentate on all of this with you. I mean, what an absolute treat.
What a day it's been, and that means we have completed the men's round of 16. So just to run you through before we say goodbye of the bottom half of the draw: Andre Rublev against Holger Rune, Alex de Minaur against Novak Djokovic, Ben Shelton on his first ever trip outside America taking on JJ Wolf, and Roberto Bautista Agut, you've just heard come through against Andy Murray, will take on Tommy Paul. I hope you can join us tomorrow. There's nothing like a leisurely Sunday lying in bed listening to the sound of balls being struck, and that is what we're going to bring to you courtesy of Tennis Breakfast. So we will be with you Sunday morning. We look forward to your company, and we have for you the night session. So we're getting stuck into these round of 16 matches. And we start with Stefanos Tsitsipas against Jannik Sinner. That could be a bit of a blockbuster start to the night session or to your breakfast. And then we'll follow it with two-time champion Victoria Azarenka against Zhu Lin. That's all to come tomorrow. We'll also round up the day's actions. Keep across the website and 5 Live for updates and other bits and pieces and some Andy Murray reaction. But until next time, as the time approaches midday here in the UK, enjoy the rest of your Saturday, and we look forward to your company again on Sunday morning.